Absolutely.
And I love this movie. I ranked it higher for Brett because obviously I appreciate Black excellence more than Brett, and I like Don Cheadle. So I'm just a better Black man than Brett at the end of the day because I respect War Machine. Just to put that out.
First of all, I love
I'm putting that out on the internet. No, hold on, Brett. I'm putting that on the internet. I'm sorry. I almost got through it. I'm fucking stupid.
And that's the code. And that's the cold open. Moving on. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another great day to discuss other people's excellence. I am the unforgettable one himself, Mr. Brett Carroll. Charles is always daydreaming. We're two guys that like BSN at work. All right, this is a pod that we're really excited to do. This is a pod that we were thinking about doing since November, I think, when Wakanda Forever came out. But we're doing it now because Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania comes out just days from now, especially by the time you guys see this. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania will be coming out on the 17th, which is the unofficial start. Well, technically, yeah, the unofficial start to Phase 5. There was a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that doesn't really count. That was part of Phase 5, I guess. But now that not only are we going into a new phase, but Wakanda Forever was the 30th movie in the MCU, which is insane to think about. That Wakanda we have got Forever. 30 movies already in the MCU. So what we're going to do is we're going to rank them. We're going to rank all 30 of these projects. These aren't shows. These aren't specials. These are just the cinematic movies that have come out in theaters that are all part of this timeline that we have called the MCU. All right, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The way we did this was I made my list. Charles sent me his list. And what I tried to do was basically come up with a list that tells the story of both our lists combined. If there are two totally separate numbers or rankings, I try to go somewhere in the middle. As you'll see, I had to break some rules a couple times because again, we have 30 movies and two different people's opinions on it. It's not going to be an exact science.
Especially after like the 10 to 15 range, it is a shit show of a list.
Well, ironically, I thought the top 5 was going to be easy. The top 5 was hard, was worse. The bottom 5 was easy. That was the easiest part. Top 5 was bad. I had to stop at 12 because I was just stuck. I'm like, I don't know where to do next. I was like, all right, let me try to go back to the top 5 and work my way back down.
Yeah, the top 5 was hard just because I realized I have like a top 8 because like it's interchangeable after 1. Depending on how I feel, because like I know what your favorite movie is, and that could be anywhere from my 2nd to 9th favorite movie, like depending on how I feel. So I to give everyone a little peek into how I was thinking about it, I was trying to do it as fast as possible for my honest feeling of it, and I was trying to remember it correctly. So by villains, essentially, if I remembered the villain, I loved the villain. That's one of the weakest parts of the whole MCU is the villains. So when I got later into it, like my 20 on shit show, you know what I mean? Like I don't really care. Like in the last 5, I realized I dislike all so equally. I didn't even care how I was ranking them after a certain point.
Yeah, our bottom 5 or 6 was basically the same movie, just in different order. So that made it easy. Like when I was doing it at first, I was like, "Oh, this is easy," and then as it got a little more complicated, which was fun. You know what I mean? That was the whole point of the exercise. Like, oh, this is really fun. So there was one time it messed up my rankings, and I actually had to switch stuff around because I realized. So there's one time you had a movie ranked 8th and I had a movie ranked 10th. But then another movie I had ranked 8th and you had ranked 10th, and I didn't notice that. So at first I was like, okay, that's cool. This movie will just be 9, right? You rank it 8th, I rank it 10. Simple. And then when I went back, because remember I said at 12 I had to switch, go to the top 5 and go back down that way. Then I was looking at this other movie. I'm like, wait, why is that saying 8 and 10? I already did 8 and 10. Then I looked, I said, no freaking way. So that was a thing. So I had to switch some stuff around. It was fun. So we're going to get into it. Number 30, we have Captain Marvel. And already you see that we kind of had to break the rules here because we both have it at 29. So Brett, why wouldn't you just put it at 29? because everything else was kind of different. But at the end of the day, we both said that this is basically the worst movie there. At 29, like that's not moving anything. So I just put it at 30. For me, this movie was not good. Oh, for those y'all that are about to say, "Oh, you're mad about a woman character," no, shut up. Me and you both love Wonder Woman. You point out before, like a lot of the movies that you love growing up had strong female leads. That has nothing to do with it. To me, this movie had a couple different problems. One, it just wasn't that good. Two, it was a prequel at a time where everything was supposed to be linked to each other. And like you're giving me the one movie that we know for a fact has nothing to do with what's going on. So the interest in it wasn't good.
And the story is just a B throwaway story. This would have been better served as a miniseries like the after Endgame era. But even then, it wouldn't have been good because no disrespect to Brie Larson. I like her in like 21 Jump Street. She's been in a bunch of different sitcoms. She's good. Like she's good at what she does. I just think she was miscast because I don't like her as Captain Marvel. Jude Law's character is pretty weak. Do you remember his name? Of course not. This whole movie, with the exception of Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson being good actors and having semi-chemistry together, I feel like they had more chemistry than what's supposed to be Captain Marvel's actual best friend in the story. And the setups of this movie I like more than the movie itself. Like I liked the setups this movie had for WandaVision. So it's kind of telling how weak the movie is that I don't even care to rewatch the movie.
And I think the problem with it is chronologically, this is the second movie you should watch, right? So this is one of those movies where if you've never watched the MCU and you're trying to get into it and you're saying, okay, what should I have Disney? Let's say you just bought Disney Plus. So it's like, okay, I can watch all these movies now. What should I watch? I would probably suggest watching this movie like first or second, because you might appreciate it more than us who got it at what, 20 something, the 20.
Absolutely, because there's a couple movies that I ranked higher in my 30 just because I know I ranked higher than the average MCU fan because I saw it later. I didn't have the hype. I didn't have the problems that came with it. Like the one that comes in my head that's going to be somewhere on this list, obviously, is Multiverse of Madness. I saw that a month, 2 months, 3 months after everyone else. I did not have the hype machine and the ridiculous expectations that other people had. So I got to enjoy the movie for what it is. And being the horror fan I am, I really liked it more than the average person.
Yeah,
but
but
this,
also,
I feel like they're talking down to us when they try, especially when the main character is doing it. Brie Larson is the one saying, "Oh, you just don't like strong female characters," when everybody would have paid a lot of money to see a Black Widow movie in the same spot in the MCU. But we got Captain Marvel, an OP character that wasn't necessarily cast the best.
Yeah, and just the stuff that they were setting up for this movie, it doesn't work because it's a prequel, right? It's acting like it's a setup for all this stuff, but it doesn't work because it's a prequel. And like I said, because of the time frame, it takes place in the 90s. It's a prequel to everything. So it's one of those things like if you haven't watched any MCU movie and you're trying to get started, probably watch this one first, because then at least it sets up stuff down the line.
Not even. It sets up cop-outs, like a bunch of a whole alien race of shapeshifters.
Yeah.
And what did it set up that it paid off? Like what is the, like, I don't even know, like, I'm being serious. What was the setup?
Well, nothing paid off yet because
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Going forward, Secret Invasion and stuff like that. Like this movie might, this movie might be setting up stuff we're about to see, but as of right,
this dropped after Infinity War. What was the setup? That's all I'm saying. If you're gonna drop a prequel,
that's my point. That's why it's ranked so low, because
it's trash. Oh yeah,
we're at the worst. It came out the worst time. It was probably the worst.
We got a lot of crap to wade through here, bro. Before we start talking about something we like.
Yeah, number 29.
Oh my God, this garbage dumpster fire.
And again, you see it. He ranked it 28. I ranked it 30. So that was an easy 29. This I hate this movie with a passion.
I ranked it 28 and not last or 29th, and I'll defend this. Robert Downey Jr. outside the suit in this movie played a better character and did the most acting that you've seen in a while up to this point in the MCU. It's just stuck in a terrible movie. Like, he's good outside the suit. You cared. He was setting up something they never paid off, mind you, of him never needing the suit again and being this version of himself, yada, yada, yada. But it's in a terrible movie. Like, I feel like me and you are going to say the same thing. So I'm just going to say Mandarin, and anyone watching this is going to know what I mean.
Well, that's why I moved us, because we were covering this handsome young fella right here.
They had to retcon that bullshit. That's how bad it was.
That's how bad it was.
Retconned it twice.
Like, that's how bad it was. They had to retcon it. To me, this is the worst movie in the MCU, period. That's why it's my number 30. It was the most infuriating movie of the MCU, period. That's why it's number 30. It ranked 29 just because.
I like how after Captain Marvel, where there's some sci-fi intrigue, we're like kind of explaining the movie, and it's our last movie. Me and you are doing this. We're like, oh god, yo,
it doesn't.
Okay, this one's terrible. I had this at 30. You want to know why this would be the worst though? Because it egregiously. Our biggest criticism of Chris Hemsworth when he was cast as Thor was he was taking it too seriously. He's not the actor for that, so they lightened him up. And now we got to the point where the dude can be taken seriously. He is a better actor than he was. There's a cancer storyline, and there's nothing serious about this movie, and completely wastes Christian Bale. This movie, I just watched this movie. This, like, for everything I like about Multiverse of Madness, seeing it after the fact, I watched this after the fact. This is garbage. And I'm mad about that because the cast is A1. The cast is A1. This is when you're like the writing and the directing. And I like Taika Waititi, but this was garbage. You can't joke about cancer. Like, that's just a reality of our world. You trash ass fucking movie. I just watched this the most recently. So this is why, like, if you guys notice, I'm a bit apathetic towards the MCU. I'm like, it's dead. That, like, the MCU is fucking dead. This whole phase, besides Shang-Chi and Wakanda Forever, is pretty much garbage. And I like the Turtles, but I know it's not good. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, what do you got to say about this fucking trash?
No, you said it. You said it all. And I'm going to save my opinion.
And they could have kept Bro. They could have kept the dude version of him a little bit more, man. Like, it humanized him. He had a weight issue. And then in the fucking opening montage, he's back to being sexy Thor. Chris Hemsworth is actually a great looking dude. He does not need the ego boost to making sure that we all know he's a sexy dude. He could have been Bro Thor with the Guardians for more than 5 seconds. What the fuck was the point of him leaving with the Guardians? Like, that could have been a throwaway gag, and then at the end of the credits, they show that scene where, like, okay, we're going to go off to our own adventures. That would have been funny, that at the end he leaves with them before the credits are done, or by the time the credits are done, they're like, yeah, this isn't working. That would have been a funny gag. This just made it a pointless fucking beat of a story, leaving the last movie. And isn't she supposed to be in charge of, like, all of Asgard? But we're just reverting into old, like, what they were in the last movie a little bit. Did they watch the movies in between the last movie? Why the fuck should we care if the fucking people making it don't care?
I don't know, Charles. I don't know. Like I said,
Shout out Levi, because I know Levi, you think I'm bad. My boy Levi hates this fucking movie. Like, now, like, when I say hates this movie, if I gave this microphone to Levi, he'll have 20 minutes. Now this is the most garbage film ever created of a comic book IP. Shout out, bro. I got you.
Hey, listen, you said it. I'm not, matter of fact, I'm gonna save my comments about this movie for another movie. That's all I gotta say about that. Number 27, Black Widow.
This was so good. Who remembers it?
Yeah, again, this also falls into the Captain Marvel issue of it. Just the timing was horrible. Just
decent cast.
Decent cast. The prequel, it was a prequel that set up nothing, that was about nothing.
No reason this should have came out after Endgame.
Yeah, this should have came out years ago.
This should, if this was reversed with Captain Marvel, I think both would have been better received.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still don't think it would have saved Captain Marvel, but this maybe, yeah, probably.
Because this one, the thing that gets me about this
started phase 4, by the way.
The fake Russian accents of the actors that really aren't that good at it, and that's me saying it. Like, don't get me wrong, what's his name? I would say Red Baron. That's World War One. The Ruski version of Captain America. I just don't remember his name right now. Because I'm thinking Omega Red or Red Baron. I know both of those are very wrong.
Don't care. Keep going. We know.
But that's my point. He's cool. I don't remember his name. That's my point. And he's one of my favorite parts of this movie. And listen, I don't think me and
he was amazing. He was amazing in Violent Night. Go see that movie. That movie was great.
He's amazing in Stranger Things. Watch that show.
I mean, he's amazing in everything except for this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And same with Black Widow's sister. I like her as an actress. I'm not hating on her. The worst part about this movie is the Shockmaster. Or Taskmaster. Shockmaster's a wrestling reference. Shout out to all the wrestling fans.
Yeah, Taskmaster. This movie just wasn't good.
Taskmaster made it garbage though. Like that was going to be the saving grace. They pretty much could have. The dude that was cast as Crossbones could have played Taskmaster. Like not necessarily the same character, but that actor is like exactly the type to play Taskmaster or somebody with more charisma because they pulled a Deadpool. They turned a guy that's known for talking shit, not like to the level of Deadpool, but a guy that's known to be the guy that's giving you exposition because he can kick your ass. He's doing it just because he can do it. And they made it a mute. I don't care about the gender swap. Like the Elaine, the one that's running Shield now. Her name's not really Elaine. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She personality-wise would have been the perfect gender swap for a Taskmaster. And she's just too old now. But not making the villain a mute robot, essentially. Because, Marvel has robot characters they could have just made to be the bad guy if they wanted that. You could have brought back Ultron. Could have had fun. I don't know. I don't remember. That's my point. Probably this movie is before Ultron, I guess. I don't remember. It's fucking not that good. I think it's taking place during Civil War. And you can completely skip it.
Completely.
Unless you like again, Scarlett Johansson. A1. You like
not to mention screw Disney for what they did to her in this movie too. Like that was wrong too. This movie is just bad. I mean, if this was number 30, last time I said 25 through 30, none of these are good movies. If we put any of these at 30, I don't think anybody would complain.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of hot fucking garbage.
You know it's bad when I don't even mind this movie. This is one of the ones I don't mind because I saw it like years after it came out. Everyone told me this was the worst one. So I was after Iron Man 3 and I watched Thor 2 and I'm like, it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? By comparison of what the worst was already. And mind you, before we did this today, I did this list so quick. I was like, I feel like I ranked Thor Dark World way too high. Like, I don't remember what I did. I really don't even remember where I ranked it. And now I'm seeing that I ranked it at 26. And in my head, I was like, too high. It's just too high.
Too high. Yeah. Again, any of these bottom 5 movies, if you put them at 30, nobody would complain.
You want to know what I liked about Thor: The Dark World, though? I'm being sincere about this. You want to know what I liked? Because this is why I think I didn't hate it like everybody else. One, I never was a Thor fan, and I didn't have high expectations of Chris Hemsworth at the time this came out. But for what made me like him a little bit more was him and Loki in this movie. Like, if you go into this movie knowing it's not that good and you have expectations of, like the next Avengers coming out or something, like, yeah, I'm trying to go back in that time period. And I saw the character development between the brothers. This movie ain't bad. The character development within the greater MCU, but specifically between Loki and Thor, again, that was really done well. It's just in a bad movie. I think like this villain shouldn't have been a generic villain. This should have been a villain hypothetically that we're still like, yo, Malekith's still out here. Like, yeah, the Asgard's gone, but what the hell are the Dark Elves doing? Like, that's supposed to be that level villain that we just hope don't come back while shit's awry. Like, and we don't care. He's an afterthought. No one even cares. He's clown shoes to the average MCU fan. So, and again, I'm not even a Marvel fan like that. And I'm mad how they did this villain because I was like, he's supposed to be bigger than that. You know what I mean? Like, I know that. I know that as more of a DC nerd growing up, or more, this isn't my part of Marvel. Like, Spider-Man is my part of Marvel, and I wasn't worried about Dark Elves in Marvel. But they fucked it up. That's my general opinion. It's like they dropped the ball on this, and I don't remember much outside of Loki of this movie.
There's not much to remember, and we're starting to see a theme here. I think all the Thor movies with Jane Foster in it have been bad, so maybe just let's not do that anymore.
Or find somebody that can direct.
Yeah, that too.
Write and direct.
25, The Incredible Hulk. I still forget that this is technically an MCU movie, but like,
and I rank this a little bit higher than I initially did because it's a decent one-off movie, but it's as low in this list because it doesn't matter to the MCU at all. Like it teases the original plan for the Avengers movie was the Avengers coming together to stop the Hulk, which again, I was down for. I liked the Avengers, the first one, as you'll see in this list, but they teased the movie that never happened even. Like, you know, the Tony Stark going up to Thunderbolt Ross and you know, having a plan for this guy. And mind you, that should have been the first Avengers movie. Like it should that pretty much would have made more sense. But Edward Norton went full Edward Norton, apparently. Like he burned bridges on a creative level. And you know, I don't think his career is hurt because he's Edward fucking Norton. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you're known for American History X and no one actually believes you're racist, that's how good of an actor he is. Because no one just sees that character. You see whatever he's doing in that role. So like the fact that like he wasn't the Hulk, it's more of a bigger what if for us. Like just knowing that it could have been Robert Downey Jr. and Ed Norton in the MCU like that. But as me and you were talking off wax the other day about The Glass Onion, he's in it and he's amazing. Like the dude hasn't hurt. It's just, you don't have to watch this. This is one of those movies where we're still in the area of completely irrelevant to the actual main story. These are all movies that are great for Easter eggs with the bigger Avengers movies. But other than that, like they just brought back the Abomination fucking 5 phases later.
And it's not even the same character, really. So
no, they made it all jokey and shit because the Abomination's like supposed to be Marvel's Doomsday, and it's not. So
right. 24.
You're just like, yeah. I want to hurry up and get to the movies I like.
Thor. Actually, again, we actually have it ranked higher, but again, makes more sense to just drop it down some when you see where the other rankings are. I also noticed, I think I had you as 26 for the last 2 movies combined. That's probably wrong. One of them was probably 25, but my phone's updating right now, so I can't check it. But whatever.
Yeah, I noticed that too, but it doesn't matter. Like on some real shit, it doesn't matter. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of them was 25, the other one was 26. Doesn't matter. Point is, Thor, the first Thor. I actually think this movie's a lot better than people give it credit for. Like, I watched it again not too long ago. I'm like, oh, this isn't horrible. Like this, it wasn't great. It wasn't horrible.
No, 100%. This isn't. This one is not where we finally have gotten out of the shit tier and we're just into the meh tier. Right. And by meh, me and Brett don't hate the word meh. The word meh means like if you love it, more power to you. Like if you hate it, we're just kind of like, it wasn't that bad. That's what our meh category pretty much is. Like if you say you hate it, it's like, what were you expecting with these films? But you say you love it, it's like, did you see the rest of the films? Like,
did you see this?
I like this one. This one is good. This one's the, like, I used to dislike the first Avenger the most out of the phase 1, but this is the weakest phase 1 one.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, where it is on our list, but like, it is not as bad as it was received back in the day.
Right. Exactly. Next one, Iron Man 2. I fucking hate the film. Like,
go ahead, bro.
Well, I to me, Iron Man 1 was such a great film because it wasn't a superhero movie to me. It was a movie that just happened to be about a superhero. And I feel like Iron Man 2 was like, yeah, no, we're going back to generic superhero movie. And I'm like, no, but you had a great thing going with the first one. And then the second one, you just said, nah, screw it. We're going to go back to generic superhero movie. And I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it. And
I like this movie, but I like it for what you said. Like, I like the generic superhero parts. I like seeing Iron Man be Iron Man. I was one of the fans I wanted more of the generic, the air quotes on my generic. Like, I wanted just some superhero parts. I wanted him to be the hero that Tony Stark would be like, oh yeah, I'm fucking gonna live this up. Like that's part of the character, right?
Well, no, but also it was just certain things about this movie. I think a lot of the stuff was like too easy, right? It was like, oh my God, we need to find something that's never been created before to save not only your life, but like, whatever. We need to create a new element. And Jarvis literally says, like, that's gonna be impossible. And he did it on like the first try.
Yeah.
Like
That okay, 100%
like
on
that just pissed me off. I'm like, what?
I like the scene with Whiplash on the racetrack. That's what I really like that scene.
Absolutely.
And I love this movie. I ranked it higher for Brett because obviously I appreciate black excellence more than Brett, and I like Don Cheadle. So I'm just a better black man than Brett at the end of the day because I respect War Machine. Just to put that out.
First of all, I love
I'm putting that out on the internet. No, hold on, Brett. I'm putting that on the internet. I'm sorry. I almost got through it. I'm fucking stupid.
That's the code. And that's the cold open. Moving on.
I'm a better black man than Brett. I just like saying it on the internet just so like one day the algorithm, somebody types in a better black man than Brett, this comes up. Like
Number 22, The Eternals. This is one of those, you had it ranked.
Apparently 25. I ranked 3 movies at 25. That could have been my fucking issue.
No, I think I just had a typo somewhere. Again, I did this as you probably know, I did this at like 2:00 in the morning. So
Brett only does shit between the hours of 1 and 3:30 in the morning. Like that's the only time Brett feels.
I don't sleep well at night anyway, so I was like, let me at least be productive since I'm going to be up.
This one, it's funny, man, because we did our Eternals review on this channel. So like to keep it a buck, like I still enjoy this movie for what it is. Like I'm not like I don't hate it. I really don't. I dislike it now because it doesn't need to be in the MCU. Like if you took out the Thanos line or any reference to Thanos, this could have just been a multiverse movie. Like that's what one of my biggest problems with looking back on this last phase is. I said it to Brett. You established there's a multiverse. You could have made this one of the multiverses and just set up like, yo, the Eternals just smacked into our timeline or something like that. And no. And there's still Tiamat or whatever out in the Indian Ocean, just that hasn't affected the environment at all, because that's how climates work. Completely change the topography of the planet Earth and nothing happens anywhere. Because, mind you, I'm not even making a joke. I'm making a reference to that because, like, we just had a shit ton of terrible earthquakes in real life. Like, right. A bunch of people have lost their lives in real life. And then you have movies like this, like that are like a part of a universe that is lauded. And all I'm saying is maybe a god coming out of the ocean would have had some effects on the planet.
Right, a god that coming out of the ocean was supposed to destroy the planet, but even though it only got a quarter of the way there, nothing happened.
Because, mind you, a piece of ice in the north drops into the ocean, flooding across the planet. Fucking God reaching up out of the ocean.
Nothing.
Not even a fucking tidal wave. Like, and it's just like, okay. And that's the problem. For real, that's the problem. Because me and you were hyped. We didn't even think about that because we had enough faith at the time that Marvel would reference it, and they didn't. And we were more excited about Jon Snow getting a sword with Blade. Yeah. Let's be real. Like, me and you were like, yo, Blade, Jon Snow, let's do this. Like,
yeah, it's been more of a She-Hulk Easter egg reference than anything else. That's literally been the only talk about it.
And I haven't watched She-Hulk, just to throw on more of this.
No, when I say Easter egg, it's one of those, somebody's on the internet and you got to pause it and see that one of the headlines is talking about something that's in the middle of the ocean, and they're talking about Eternals.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
No, like, and mind you, I'm saying this as a fan of the MCU, where if you wanted to make a She-Hulk show, they could have made the whole show about lawyer She-Hulk going to said place, seeing this god coming out the ocean and dealing with baddies on the other side of the planet. But I didn't watch the show, and I'm not going to hate on a show I didn't watch. I'm just keeping it a buck that I didn't see that and was like, oh yeah, I need to watch that. I did see a clip from She-Hulk, I believe, and it was like a Jeep hitting the Hulk and hitting him across like a parking lot, which is just, I don't understand, because, the Hulk can't get hit by a car and go flying.
So just
That's
for
it.
reference,
I'll say, like, he punched a space dragon with his hand, knocked him out.
just for reference, real quick, because my phone finished updating. You had where I just see it. Thor Dark World was 24, not 26. So that's where I messed up. That should be a 24. Okay. Moving on. Captain America, the first Avenger. You had at 22. I had it at 19. Again, just kind of putting somewhere in between there.
This is growing on me.
Yeah, decent film, solid film.
Needed more action scenes.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they figured out how to make the movie after they made the movie, because the cast A1, like the scenes are good. It's just that they had that one montage where they're doing the song, and they could have just had a battle scene like extended there, like what they did with Wonder Woman. Just have a war scene and show him go off. And I don't think they did a good enough job at establishing Bucky Barnes in this movie, because as I'm a nerd, and when I watched, like the trailer, I was like, who? I was like, oh, right, his friend from the first one. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't establish the relationship enough in this movie. They did a better job after Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I think to me, it's a solid film. Not great, not terrible, definitely not terrible. Really good film. So
decent enough movie.
Yeah, once we get into like the 20s, you're into like, okay, these are good films. It's just nitpicking at this point. Speaking of 20, Ant-Man and the Wasp, you had at 23. I had it at 17. Put it right in the middle at 20.
Mm-hmm. No, this one was one of the ones where it's like, I barely remember what happened, but I know I didn't not like it. Yeah, like I like the movie. I remember it more for the end teaser than mostly all the other stuff going on in the movie. And that's not good. Like what I was referenced at the beginning of the video about like the villain and the bad guy and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't remember anything about this movie. And I know I liked it. That's the fucked up part. I know I liked it. I remember watching it and enjoying it. But it's just, and I like the cast. I like how they're coming back. All of that stuff. Just don't really, I guess it didn't, out of all the things that stuck with me, this is one of those ones where it's like, oh yeah, that happened. Like, I had to go up and look about what movies I was missing. And this is one of the movies I was missing because I didn't remember I even watched it.
Yeah. I mean, it was just an okay movie. Okay, I guess I liked it more because I knew what it was. It's more of a comedy, and it was funny to me. So I was like, okay, it works. You know what I mean? I wasn't expecting anything major to happen in terms of plot points or in reference to the regular MCU, because the first one didn't really have that. Ant-Man's always been like a standalone thing. So the fact that the post-credit scene made him relevant to the rest of the Avengers, to me, was the icing on the cake. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, now to me, that was the moment where he became an Avenger type of thing. So because we knew him being in the quantum realm was going to be a big part going forward. So, and again, Ant-Man and the Wasp 3, 17th, supposed to be a major movie for MCU going forward. So
hopefully it's good, man. Hopefully it's good.
Hopefully it's good. So everybody go watch it. Number 19, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This is one of those weird things. We both had it at 18. So just like with Captain Marvel, like why if we have it both at 29, put it at 30? This is literally the same thing for the same reason. We had other movies that were kind of more scattered. So it just made sense to push this down to 19 and have other movies jump it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's one spot down.
I like this movie, man. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it a lot. I liked it for more reasons than people hating on it, because there wasn't enough Fantastic Four in it. I liked it a lot for the visuals. The Sam Raimi shit in this movie is A1. Zombie Doctor Strange manipulating shit, all of it, all that crap that some people thought was too out there. I wasn't liked
it more if. See, this movie to me, along with some other movies, like, as some of y'all know, I do want to make movies one day. My thing is, I want to go back to when trailers didn't show you everything, man. We know everything about a movie now before it comes out. So some of the plot twists aren't even plot twists, because we know if that Illuminati scene happened and we didn't know it was happening, Do you know how crazy that would have been? But we knew it was happening already.
Yeah, 100%, bro. They didn't need to show Professor X in the trailer.
And to your point, that's why people hated it so much, was because we knew it was happening, because we got so little of it. It made people not like the movie. If you didn't know that was happening at all, and you got the scenes that we got, people would have put this in their top 5 easily. People would have put this in their top 5 because that would have been so amazing. Oh, we got Professor X and Dr. Reed Richards and all this other stuff. It would have been people's top 5 easily. But because we knew all that stuff was happening already, like, it's now disappointing because again, your mindset is, well, if you're showing me this in the trailer, that means I'm supposed to be getting so much more of it in the movie.
Oh, the trailer destroyed this movie's potential, like, among the fans, because I you know, had a kid, so like I watched this months later because my son was born like a week or two after this movie came out. And I just didn't see this movie. So I had no hype in like my conscience when I watched it. So all the Evil Dead esque visuals, all the horror elements, I fucking loved. Like Wanda being the big bad is something me and Brett wanted right after WandaVision. We were like, yo, why isn't there an Avengers movie? And this movie paid off a lot of that stuff. I really enjoyed a lot of the Doctor Strange stuff. This made me like the first Doctor Strange movie even more, because just seeing him in the Mordor, however you say his name, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, in with the Illuminati, and that whole scene was awesome. Seeing Wanda murk them is one of my favorite MCU scenes. Like, some people hate that scene.
That scene was awesome. That scene was, but they hate it because they were expecting so much more, and it was like, oh, you introduced these great characters and then you killed them. But again, if you didn't know those characters were coming, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Like, so
yeah, no, I 100% agree. I just think it's funny. Shout out to the real Marvel nerds, that I'm not talking about you, but the MCU fans that like wanted, not the Eternals, the X-Men wannabe show with Black Bolt and the Inhumans, so bad to be like the replacement X-Men, and it wasn't. That you were mad they murked Black Bolt like that. Fuck off. Like, nobody's a bigger, like, oh my god, Black Bolt. If you're the biggest Black Bolt fan in the world, you understood why they did that in that movie.
Yeah, because then you won't have a movie.
Yeah, like, and it was one of the best parts of the movie. Like, she killed them. Like, she did not play with them. She was in full evil mode. Like, nah, no, I'm not beat. I'm not fighting. Like, boom. And yeah, for real. Like, this is this is one of my favorite movies from the most recent phase. It's Wakanda Forever, and it's Shang-Chi, and everything else is just whatever.
So that's 1918, Age of Ultron. This was kind of a disappointing film. A lot of people thought this movie was very underwhelming. I agree. I don't hate it as much as other people do, but I also do remember thinking that, like, yeah, this movie wasn't that great.
This is the first movie that suffered from they didn't make the villain menacing enough. But I give it a pass, because unlike the comics, where it was more Hank Pym created, this movie version was more Tony Stark created, and it acted more like Tony Stark. So I kind of got that going.
I think this is another issue of the trailer. So the trailer, when you have that scene of him singing Pinocchio, I have no strings on me.
Oh yeah, no, this trailer's all time, and it's completely misleading to the tone of the movie. And mind you, I just praise that for being horror. You know I love Terminator. Give me a genocidal robot as the villain. I'm bought in. I'm fine. It's a trope, of course. I'm down for that trope. And I got no strings on me. That voice is amazing. You see him; he doesn't look anything like his voice, but you see, but that voice is amazing.
This was at the hype of the Blacklist. So Kevin Spader was like the biggest thing out. So the fact that they got him to play Ultron, like, you know what I mean? Like, the hype for this movie was so high that it just couldn't live up to it. Unfortunately, it's gonna live up to it.
And this is actually, I think my wife would probably put this in her top 10.
Interesting.
No, this is one of her favorite MCU movies is Ultron. I think it's just because it's an Avengers movie. Like, it is the Avengers movie more so than the first one, because they're a team in this one.
Right. Good point. Good point.
And also, Marvel did a great job at paying off all the nightmares Wanda saw in everybody's head. They did a good job at paying those off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid movie. I just think it's one of those movies. The hype was so high for it. It was almost, now that I'm thinking about it, it was almost impossible for it to live up to it. So,
and Vision was OP as fuck at the ending.
Right. So
OP that it didn't make sense his role in Civil War.
Was so little.
But also so OP that when Infinity War happens, it either you saw how the children of Thanos, how strong they were in comparison, or you're like, wow, you couldn't even write around his strength, so you had to injure him immediately.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. This one, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever.
If you're asking me about a movie I wished was in my top 5, this would probably be it. I was just a little disappointed in it. It had the impossible task of trying to handle the Chadwick Boseman situation, and I think they handled that properly. I truly believe that this movie suffers from one thing and one thing only, and that is the fact that everything has to be connected now, which is ironic, right? It's like, what, was like, wait a minute, you just said that these other movies don't connect to other things at all. That's why you hate it. So why are you blaming this one for connecting too much? There's a fine balance. I think the first one worked so well because it was a standalone film. It got to just focus on the story that it wanted to focus on. This couldn't do that because it has to set up all these other different things. And I think that diluted the movie a little bit, where we're trying to focus on this one thing, but it's like, oh, that's right. But we got this Thunderbolt thing going on, and there's an Okoye thing going on. They just showed a deleted scene that shows that obviously is hinting at what they're trying to do with the Wakanda series that they're coming out with, and I think it's going to be called Okoye. So there's just too many things that they're trying to set up all within
the
this
Thunderbolt
movie.
Shit and what's her face, Ironheart shit.
Yeah,
like once you said it to me, that you could take it out the movie and it wouldn't really affect the movie, with the exception of one story beat. But I guess obvious spoilers at this point. Is she created the tech, which is fine. But everything else is so contrived. Like, I'm cool with having the one SHIELD agent be in this movie because he was in the first one. He actually was a main character in the first one. So I'm fine that they brought him back. But to your point, it was used in such a way where if you've removed all of it,
it doesn't change the movie at all.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about with the references. Like, I'm saying, hey, we're actually being consistent, because I said with Eternals, you could remove the references to Thanos, and it's still the same movie. Like, they didn't need to do this, especially when you establish a multiverse. Like, you already established the multiverse. You could have one scene that included a Thunderbolts reference and the Ironheart reference, and you could have kept it pushing and gave us more scenes about the characters we actually give a shit about, or more visions between Shuri and Killmonger. Like, I think that would have been more well received than the forgettable shit with Ironheart.
Yeah, because even that was a very important part of the movie, but it was so minuscule. Because again, it was already a 2.5, almost 3-hour movie, where it's like you can't fit anything else in it. And that's because so many scenes were put in it to set up other projects. It's like, no, if you're gonna make a 3-hour movie, make it 3 hours because this story needs 3 hours, not because you're trying to cram in 5 different projects into this one project. And I think that's what, so if they didn't do it, this movie would have been phenomenal. It would have been phenomenal if they would just focused on that part of it and that part of it alone. It would have been phenomenal.
If you would have just focused, not for nothing, if you would have replaced a couple of Thunderbolt scenes with action scenes and had the Thunderbolt scenes be action scenes, so you had this gray area of people attacking Wakanda. Like, just something more creative than what they gave you, compared to how creative they were with the Wakanda story, like actually in Wakanda. Like, notice no one's complaining about Namor, one of the wackest villains to ever exist in the comics. No one's complaining about Namor.
Yeah, that part was,
that shit was good.
It was also one of those things, like, if you would have removed one of those storylines, it might have been better. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you had like 5 different storylines going on. If you removed just 1 or 2 of them and kept the other 3, it would have been better. The fact that you were just trying to do so much in this one movie, and I get it, they probably figured this is the one movie we know people are going to see. So all this stuff that we're trying to pay off, let's try to make it put in this one movie that we know people are going to see. But it diluted the movie. It really did. And it breaks my heart that Black Panther Wakanda Forever is on the lower half of this list because it should have been higher. It really should. Originally, I'm not gonna lie, I originally had it at 18 and Age of Ultron on 17, but my heart just couldn't do that. I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm switching the 2. Fuck that. I'm making the executive decision to switch the 2.
Wow.
And plus, I mean, the rankings you see, you had it at 17 anyway. I had it at 16. So, you know what I mean? So whatever. I couldn't put it at the Age of Ultron. I just couldn't do it. I was like, nah, I said I can't do that, man. The ancestors are looking at me right now. It's Black
That's
History.
fucked up.
It's Black History Month. I can't do this.
I definitely like Age of Ultron more than that movie, but okay. Thor Ragnarok. Look at the discrepancy between where we rank this one, bro.
Yeah. I hate this movie.
Why? I can't believe you hate this movie. This is in some people I know's top 5 Marvel movies.
Yeah, I know. I hate it. Fucking hate it.
I fucking love this movie.
I fucking hate it. Hate it.
We're friends from work. I know him. We're friends from work.
I hate it. Yeah, fuck off, Space Ghost. Yeah. Listen.
Go. Puny God. like I love this shit, bro. I like this is a great movie.
This movie's hilarious. But
Lord of Lightning. Oh.
But let's go back.
Come on, Sparkles.
We got this bullshit because y'all swore Ragnarok was so damn good. And I told y'all then this was going to be the result. I tried to tell you this was going to be the result. Nobody wanted to believe me.
Calm down, Sparkles. Calm down, Sparkles.
Nobody wanted to believe me.
Ooh, the Lord of Lightning is getting mad.
Y'all said, Brett, but why do you hate this movie? This movie's hilarious. I said, no, it was hilarious. It's hilarious. But that's
when Hulk smashes Thor like he did Loki in Avengers, and Loki gets up and cheers. That is just that moment is one of my favorite moments. It is so real for this so ridiculously made up characters. But if they're brothers, that is the most brother thing he's actually done in all 30 movies, is when Hulk finally did what happened to him. He just gets up, yeah, like that's great. That's fucking great. I love it.
Hey, Charles, I'm admitting this movie's hilarious. It's hilarious. It works as a comedy. But this is my problem with the MCU as well, where everybody's saying, oh, DC's too dark, DC's too dark. To me, the MCU is too light sometimes. It's called Thor Ragnarok. This whole point of this movie is his father died. His sister's coming back and destroying his world. All his friends are dying. He's outcasted. He loses an eye. Everything. And yet it's jokes upon jokes upon jokes upon jokes upon jokes. And I'm like, bro, what are we doing here?
I had a revolution. I had a revolution. Didn't print out the pamphlets.
Yeah. Again, it's hilarious. I love Charles. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's hilarious.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. You're 100% right. But out of all the movies to be that right about, this one just worked. And you're right. Because a lot of people didn't like Hela or whatever. I did. Like, I don't know. Like when Hulk jumps and he goes, watch this. And he jumps from the ship and just smacks down on the Rainbow Road. Yo.
And this is me personally. I always hate shows that go out of their way to be funny. So, like, I love Teen Titans growing up, even Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Those shows are so good, but there's sometimes where they make it a point to be funny during serious moments because I get it. Like, haha, let's poo-poo the serious moment. I'm like, no. Go with it, man. It works. Go with the serious moment. You could be funny. Just have that balance. Now, obviously, this had way more balance in it than that shitty ass Love and Thunder. But I knew when people were hyping this movie up, I was like, watch, I'm telling you, this is what they're gonna do next time, and y'all gonna be pissed. And what do we all say? Oh, are you making fun of cancer? Oh, I'm sorry, mass extinction is hilarious, but we can't do cancer.
Yeah, bro. Have some fucking morals. Have some fucking morals.
Oh, that's the line we're going to.
That's the line. That's the line, Brett. I'm sorry, there has to be a line somewhere.
Don't worry, Thor. Everything's gonna be all right. Home is where the heart is. You can fix it. And then it just explodes. Oh no, you can't. Like, no, bro. No.
Oh, he's alive. I thought no, he's been dead. He's been dead the whole time. Carrying around the whole time.
Like, bro.
Yo, that is such a dark joke that in his head he was just carrying around this dead body for this extended amount of time.
But that's my point.
That's a rock, paper, scissors joke. That's a rock, paper, scissors joke.
Once you
It's not a regular circle, it's like a weird, freaky circle.
But that's the point I'm making. Once you go there, there's no line you're not going to cross. So then you get Love and Thunder, and everybody's like, oh my God, it's so silly. I'm like, oh, and Thor Ragnarok wasn't? Let's be real. The difference is Love and Thunder just wasn't funny. They were trying to be funny. It wasn't funny. The jokes weren't landing. The jokes landed here. Like, that's really the only difference. But the point of the matter is, I hate movies that go out of their way to be comedies, even when they're talking about serious subjects. I saw this and I'm laughing the whole time. And I'm like, wait, none of this should be funny. None of this should be funny. Why are we making jokes about this? Like, yes, it's funny, but like, why are we laughing? This is not a laughing moment. I hate it.
I've made an executive decision. You're all free. Or whatever he says, getting up out of the trash, he's like, so we're all good now. Like he's like letting everybody off. Jeff Goldblum's a national treasure. All right, what's the next one?
Yes, he is, but fuck that movie. Number 15, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm surprised you had that.
I'm surprised you have it that high.
I love this movie.
Talk all the shit you just said about Ragnarok could be applied to this.
Really? Why?
Because fucking ego. The horror planet or whatever he was, just going around fucking everything, giving women cancer, like, gotta have my baby somehow.
But notice they didn't make a joke about that moment. They took that moment seriously.
No, I get that. I like this movie. I do like this movie. This is one
the 20th. What do you mean you like the movie?
I do like it. I just didn't like it as much as the other ones.
But also, again, see, that's what I'm saying. I also understand there is room for comedy. We know the Guardians are the comedic figures of the MCU. We get it. Now, some people hate that. Some people hate the fact that they made Drax this, like, hysterical buffoon. I get that. But the point of the matter is, I understand, I'm okay with having certain characters be the funny people. I'm okay with that. And I understand for Chris Hemsworth's mental health, they had to make Thor the funny person. I get all that. But I think Guardians just does it better. They're serious when they need to be serious. They're funny when they need to be funny. They're all in on the joke of, hey, listen, we know we're a bunch of losers and a bunch of misfits. We're just doing this because everybody's after us anyway. We're better off sticking together than apart. It works. It just works better. Again, the Yandu stuff was was beautiful to me.
Oh, the Yandu stuff is great. Yeah.
That whole thing of like what makes a father, you know what I mean? Like, I think they handled all that really, really well without making a joke of everything. The stuff they had to joke about, they joked about.
Might have been your father, but I'm your daddy. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Again, I just think that they did this better. When they had to joke, they joked. When they had to be serious, they were serious. Thor never found that balance. Thor was just joke after joke after joke after joke.
This one's ranked lower just because it's I never felt like I needed to rewatch it more than what I did.
That's fair too. That's very
so
fair.
Like that's why it's ranked where it is for me. It wasn't necessarily ranked because it was as flawed as what it's around, but this was more Ant-Man and the Wasp. Just this is the part of the MCU that I'm like, oh yeah, that. Because I remember ego. Like again, I like most of this list. That's why I said 25. I like most of these movies. Like I actually will watch 25 of these movies again without a doubt. Because I am going to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2 again. I just haven't in years. But that's kind of why I ranked it as low as I did. Because to your point of your top 10, you don't rewatch movies the way I rewatch movies. So like you that adds more weight to you. So the fact that I'd rather rewatch the first Guardians or rewatch Infinity War to see these characters. That's why 2 was ranked so low for me. That's it.
No, that's fair. And this is also one of those, again, that balance of this has nothing to do with anything else. This is a standalone story.
Oh no, I like that it's a standalone. I do like that part of the movie, and that's not why I don't remember it. But just to be clear, that's not why I don't remember it. It's not that it wasn't referenced enough, but it's just more so like if I was holding this against, if these were all solo, individual, standalone movies, this wouldn't be in my top 15. You know what I mean? Anyway, so.
Interesting. But I think sometimes that does hold weight in terms of rewatchability sometimes, because it's like you don't have to watch this movie to know what's going on type of thing. They've been doing their own thing, and a lot of stuff still hasn't paid off. We'll see what happens with Guardians 3, but
you know, where the hell is Adam?
He's gonna be in Guardians 3, but
no, but you know what I mean? Like, what year did this movie come out? You know, like
right. No, that's a good point. You know, so that again, the MCU, when you have a connected shared universe, a lot of that stuff is weird. You got to balance it. You know what I mean? You got to balance it well. So we'll see.
I'm gonna get that arm.
Yes, we're gonna get that arm. See, that was funny, and it worked. Ant-Man number 14. You had it ranked 16. I had it ranked 15. We put it one spot higher. Again,
this movie is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
This movie is great. Wow, Baskin Robbins always finds out, man. like the stupidest shit in this movie is hilarious.
Everybody, T.I. is funny in this. Michael Pena is funny in this. Like everybody is.
One would say, "We let us rob you."
Even the fact that the final fight was on a toy set, but yet it was the most epic thing ever. And it's like, ah, and then the toy, and then the
what the kid sees, and she's just like. Huh? and
the final thing, you see the train about to hit him. He's like, "Oh no!" And then it hits him and just goes off the track. He's like, "Oh, that's right, it's a toy. We're so small."
and this is one of those movies that didn't try to cram too much extra shit into it. It actually had so much substance. They cut the villain character development so you could see the family character development, which was a good call overall. But so many people dislike how underdeveloped Wasp or Yellow Jacket was, that they don't like this movie as much because it's too funny. Number one, Paul Rudd's a vampire because this dude just doesn't age, and he's hilarious in this movie. I really like how him and Hank Pym play off each other. I can't remember his name at this very moment, the actor's name, but those two guys, chemistry. All the heroes in the movie, with the robbers included, Michael Pena's character steals the show. And when we're complaining about the comedy, and one of the comedic figures in a comedy movie, we're like, yo, stole the show. That just shows you how good that dude is in the role. All of his stories and the little things, like when he starts going off about the art, it's like focus. Like, great. This is a great movie. Like, if you're a weirdo and you haven't watched this, because I forget, I think it was my wife. She didn't see it like right before Infinity War came out, and I was like, well, we're watching this. She's like, really? And I was like, yeah, this is fucking funny. Like, it's one of those. It's a movie that's fun because it actually is a comedy, and the action's good, and it makes up for it being inconsistent with what they tell you are the rules of shrinking, because you shouldn't be able to carry around a tank. Like, you're supposed to maintain your weight because you're that much more dense. Mind you, one of the coolest aspects of Ant-Man, if they actually stick to that rule, mind you, I get why they didn't, because this is one of those characters where it's like, take it seriously as you need it to be taken seriously, but have fun, because it's a fucking ridiculous concept. Because this is one of those things where the boys had way too much fun with, and I'm not gonna, me and you don't gotta go into detail about that, but like, shoot. Anyway.
Moving on. Doctor Strange comes in at 13.
Oh, we're in the A tier now, baby.
Yeah,
we're in the A tier now. This is my cousin is one of the people that puts this in this top 5. I know a couple people that put this, my wife puts this in their top 5. Doctor Strange is one of those movies where I didn't love it. I didn't hate it at all, but as you could see, I didn't love it when I first watched it because it just wasn't my dude. Like to me, as mystical as the first movie is, it is such an origin story that I didn't get what I want. That's why Multiverse of Madness kind of filled that void for me. Mind you, he's the man when he's in the Avengers movies. Like, I love him, but there's so much so much fun you could have with Doctor Strange this movie could have came out in phase one, and I think Benedict Cumberbatch would just be one of the Avengers off rip, because now everybody likes Doctor Strange. He's one of those heroes where the casual fan just goes to, like, so why don't they just call him? You know what I mean? Like he's that powerful, and Benedict Cumberbatch is that charismatic that he is now, like, people say he replaced Tony just because he's that good of an actor. And in my head, I'm like, I mean, that's not a bad idea. Like, even from a narrative perspective, just to tell us a good story, because he does have that leadership quality they established in this movie. This movie's just underrated. Like, the love interest in it, like that in Multiverse of Madness, that was one of my favorite things. He's going to her wedding and it's showing you how torn he is. And then you see the other doctor that's like, yo, fuck you, dude. My family got, like, they got dusted, like, or I got dusted. My family, you know what I mean? Shit happened with the rest of us too. Oh, you're going through a lot, Mr. Avenger. Like, and it's crazy because he was like, you forget this dude had all of it. He had everything. And now he's some fucking pretty much a god. Like, his coworkers, his peers would hate him because he was always an asshole. And now he has powers.
Right.
So like the fact that they did the logical path in the sequel to show, like, yo, yeah, this dude totally a villain in most multiverse timelines. Like, it's like, I'm pretty sure me and you talked about it way before Multiverse came out. I'm like, isn't he like the bad guy? I was like, this guy's gonna be a bad guy because, you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Like,
I mean, if you saw What If, they did that storyline already, and they.
Oh yeah, well, that another thing about trailers, we all thought that was the same dude from What If.
Yep.
Which is actually a genius way to market it, because if you watch What If and you see that trailer, you're immediately like, you know, you're like, oh my god, like, you didn't need to show the other guys. But that's how good this character is. That, like, you see this first movie, at least I did, and I thought about the whole thing, everything about this guy, because this movie did a great job at establishing who he is, establishing what he cares about, how flawed of a person he was, despite being like the best heart surgeon on the planet. Yeah, this is great. This is how good the MCU is. That, like, our teens are.
It's a really good movie, and it's one of those things where it's one of those movies where you just appreciate the time we're in with special effects, because the effects in this movie are insane. Like, the fights they do in this are insane, and it's like, yeah, like, what a time to be alive. Like, this
3D.
This is one, man. All right, number 12 spot. This is where I had to stop because I could not figure out what to do from 12 to like 8. I was stuck. And so,
bro, I just want you to know the Spider-Man ones, they had me fucked up. They had me fucked up because you know my bias. You've been to where I live. You know all the Spider-Man shit I have. Like, when I ranked this one, and this is 13, and I'm like, yo, this is too low. like.
I was surprised when I read. I'm like, why does he have it? Because this is what I'm saying. Your rankings fucked me up a lot because I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Because what's the rest of my 12? It's not like they're garbage films. Like,
no, I know, but I was like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, I don't. Where you had certain films was really fucking this up, because I was like, because you saw, like, for the most part, once we got to like 13, I was like, okay, I can manage this. Like, we have basically certain things in certain places, cool. Once I got to 12, I literally had to, this was the last slide I did. Because I got to 13, I was stuck on 12. I said, okay, let me go up, let me scroll down, let me go to 1, work my way backwards and figure it out from there. And I figured it out from there. And then I was like, okay, what's the last movie left? And I was like, okay, Spider-Man Far From Home. I don't know how this is 12, but okay, this is what we're going to go with.
No, that's how good the rest of this list is. That Far From Home is 12. And I put Far From Home lower than the other two. Well, one of them is obvious, but I put this lower than Homecoming because I feel like Homecoming was a better character story. I feel like you don't need to know anything about Spider-Man to love Homecoming as a film, because that felt more like a coming-of-age movie, exactly what it's supposed to be. This one, I think, I speak for Brett or try to analyze why it would be this high, at least for both of us, or higher than what our 12 is. Mysterio was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So I was trying to just to gauge all of it, because now we're like, when I was, as you'll see, my 13 on is all tier 1 movies in my opinion. So it was ranking the overall effect on the universe, the overall effect on the character, trying to do all that nerd shit with the movies. So that's why I kind of lowered it, because I like Mysteria. But as we know, y'all ain't seen the sequel to this movie yet, so obviously you know it's higher. So like this one was just like kind of how Brett came to this conclusion is kind of how this became 13 on my own list. Just because I kept adding stuff ahead of it, not because I didn't love this. I love this movie, not because I don't love this movie, but like just because like I was like, yo, I can't put it higher than the other shit. Like that's it. We're now in the realm of all of this shit could be in somebody's top 5, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Number 11, Iron Man.
I'm surprised this is out of your top 5.
This one was hard. I wanted to put this in my top 10 so
with
bad.
A box of scraps.
Oh, well, unfortunately, I'm not Tony Stark.
Tony built a suit in a cave with a box of scraps.
I wanted to put this in my top 10 so bad. I just couldn't find what I was taking out. It was one of those things.
And see, am I supposed to put this after Far From Home? When this is a reason why Far From Home is such a big fucking deal?
Yeah, I get it. This is the OG. This is the one that started off. No offense, all offense to the Hulk. This is the one that started.
Yeah, no one was like, "Oh yeah, I saw the Hulk. I gotta see Iron Man." That's not no.
This is the one that started off. I just think, as great as this movie is, there's better movies at the end of the day. Like, you know what I mean? This is out here up there for respect. You know what I mean? Out of respect, I gotta put it in my top 15. It's still a great movie, by the way. I just like other movies better. And as great as it is, it doesn't hold up as much now. But that's only because, again, it's been 30 movies in, and this was one of the first ones. So, you know, it's kind of, I would hope they got better over time than this. That's kind of where I'm at with, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I would hope after 30 movies, the first one's still not the best thing they've ever done. You know what I mean? That's not even a knock on it for saying it doesn't hold up as much, because it doesn't. It doesn't hold up as much now than it did then.
Oh no, I remember people saying this was a better movie than Dark Knight when it came out. It's not.
It's not.
But at the same time, that's something I lived through. So someone's gonna say that's bullshit. No one ever said that. You weren't an adult in 2008 then, because in 2008, a bunch of Marvel fucking nerds were saying Iron Man was better than The Dark Knight. And I feel like everybody would disagree with that now, because we're kind of so far removed from this being the hottest movie. But this, props to this movie, because I was already a huge nerd by the time these movies came out, and Dark Knight's my favorite movie of all time. So in my head, I still rank this there, because I remember going to the theater that year. I remember seeing this. I remember seeing kids within a couple of years bringing up Iron Man with the likes of superheroes that I never heard kids bringing up Iron Man with.
And we say this on this pod all the time. What the brilliance of the MCU is, it took C and D list characters. And for those of y'all that don't remember, Iron Man was a C-list character at best. At best, Iron Man was a C-list superhero. And now he's a household name. Even Black Panther, C-list superhero at best. And now he's a household name. That was the brilliance of the MCU. Because remember, they didn't have Spider-Man. They didn't have the X-Men. They didn't have the big names at their disposal. So the only way this was going to work was for them to make great movies. That's the problem we have with DC. Is like, bro, y'all have the IP at your disposal. And you think just because you have the IP, you could just put out shit and we're just going to watch it. Like the MCU, especially during this time, they realized like, yo, we gotta like make great movies and make people fall in love with these characters, and they did that.
Okay, so just for the record, even though Iron Man's in my personal top 10 on the Dope blog, the official Dope blog rankings of the MCU is fucking leaving out Iron Man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's crazy. You know, it's just crazy.
By the way, originally no. Remember, see how it has 9 and mine is 11. Originally, I had it at 10.
Yeah, it got pushed out because of how you just had to fit things in. So I'm just interested. What's 10, man? I got to know now.
We're in the top 10 now. Number 10, Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy.
I was wondering Or this was
originally this was 11, and honestly, if we really want to, I guess we could put it back to 11. But remember, that's why I said this one you had at 8 and I had at 10, and the other one you had.
I'm with it because this is better than all things considered equal. This is a better movie than Iron Man.
Okay, so there we go.
It's just funny to me because I was just defending why Guardians was so low. Guardians 2 was so low on my list. Again, Guardians, the first one was in my top 5 for a little bit. Other movies just came along.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how good the top tier of Marvel is. And I'm just shocked. I'm shocked Brett had it lower than I had it, considering where we had the second one. So now we're officially in all this shit's gold. And I don't know what your favorite part of this movie is. This movie had me in the opening credits when they started playing Redbone, Come and Get Your Love.
The soundtrack. I mean, come on, the soundtrack alone of these movies just puts it up there. You know me, I'm a soundtrack guy.
Oh, no, I'm a soundtrack guy, bro. I actually went out and bought soundtracks in my life, like of movies I didn't care for, just I saw the track list.
People make fun of me now because like I still listen to like soundtracks in certain movies. They're like, why are you listening to the sound? I'm like, why aren't you listening to the soundtrack?
Bro, this is top 5 movie soundtrack ever.
Like this movie is funny. The whole and that was like the first time the MCU kind of went there, and we were like, whoa!
It was in the trailer. It was in the trailer.
Whoa, we're doing middle fingers in Disney movies.
I'm Star-Lord. Who?
I mean, come on, man. This movie is amazing. This movie is amazing. From the dance battle scene at the end, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm distracting you, idiot. Like, come on.
This movie's great. It's a talking raccoon. What's a raccoon?
It's just such a good movie. So we are now in any of these movies could be in your top 5, and there's no.
Yeah. Oh, and I don't say that this movie, but that just reminds me of when he's like, "You're from Earth." I'm from Missouri. That's Earth. That's Earth, dick, or whatever he says. Like, what are you? Oh, what am I? What am I supposed to say? Jesus? You're from Earth. I'm from Missouri. You're like wherever he's from, yo. That shit is hilarious. Oh man, yeah. This movie is great. This is a great movie. Like, it has no business working,
and it works. It just works.
And not for nothing, Batista needs more props and more flowers because I'm a wrestling fan. And in us wrestling fans, we had more faith in The Rock initially making it in Hollywood and John Cena making it in Hollywood. No one thought Batista, like no one as a wrestling fan was like, oh yeah, Batista, movie star. And so when he started getting these roles, like in Man of an Iron Fist, cool, you're a bad dude. Everybody's gonna believe you're a badass. These are the roles you're made for these action movies. This shit opened up all of our eyes, and we were like, oh, you can just make us laugh, like, and still be believable that you can murder somebody with your hands.
Can't make metaphors with him. The stuff goes over. Impossible. My reflexes are too fast. I would catch it.
Yes. Bro, that's what I'm talking about. Like if you had a time machine to go back to 2004 and you go to a WWE fan and say, that guy, he's going to have like 4 movies where he's a main character and it makes this much money, you'd be like, yo, you smoking that perp? You smoking that perp?
Whatever you're smoking, past that.
Bro, it's 2004. We ain't ready for whatever you got. Yo, this movie is great. Like, I'm looking at this poster smiling just because it's like, I remember how good it was in the theater, and it was a movie where you caught certain subtle jokes the second time around. And Zoe Saldana is this is a crazy cast because Star-Lord's the weakest real actor, not counting Batista, who became a real actor. And then you got Zoe Saldana and what's his face playing an effing raccoon. And Vin Diesel as Groot.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper playing Rocket.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper's the raccoon. People forget that's Bradley Cooper.
Unbelievable.
Bradley Cooper's getting paid bank to be a raccoon.
Vin Diesel is getting paid bank to say, I am fucking Groot. Are you
a bunch of different ways, yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ. All right, number 9. Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame. This movie, to me, I gotta be honest with you, as a movie, is not that good. But we cannot gloss over the nostalgic, adrenaline, blood pumping fun that this movie was, especially that last battle scene.
This whole movie could be garbage. The last 40 fucking minutes of this movie are the best, bro. I've rewatched the thing I did when I got Disney Plus.
Wait, hold on. Before you tell that story, my biggest regret in life, and I have a lot of regrets. My biggest regret in life, or maybe not the biggest regret, but like my top 5 regrets in life. I went to see this movie because, again, this is at a time where social media was, a big thing, and spoilers were a big thing. I didn't want to get spoiled, right? I was in Boston. We got to Boston late. So we decided, it was a group of us, me, my brother, and a bunch of other guys. We decided to no. Obviously, we're not going to stay off our phones all weekend. We got to see this movie as fast as we can. So we went to a 9 a.m. showing Friday morning to see this movie. An empty theater, just us. That is my biggest regret in life, because I did not get to have that moment when Cap picks up the hammer and the fucking theater goes absolutely.
Bro, I saw this at a midnight showing.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And so the scene, I literally, the first thing I did was fast forward to the end scene, right after Thanos comes through time, shoots the base, and they get up, and it's just the big three, Thor, Cap, and Tony, just sitting at Thanos, looking at Thanos sitting in the field, and they're just staring, like, and this is them acting. Like, people say there's not acting in these movies. They're all acting because they look traumatized as shit just seeing him again, and they're just like, it's a trap. And the way Thor says it, yep. And it's like, he's like, so we know it's a trap. And he's like, as long as we're all on the same page. And they all just start warming up to fight. I just was like, I got chills thinking about it, because it's like, that is so real. They're all like, yeah, we shouldn't do this. Fuck it. like they know it's a bad idea. And all 3 of them said, I need to do it. Because that whole last fight scene. So what you missed out on in the theater for the last fight scene, because obviously the crowd, the laugh tracks from them going back in time and stuff, all that shit was there. But that last scene when they say, as long as we know, when they start fighting, when Cap gets the hammer, place lost its fucking mind. Stone cold, glass breaking levels of loud crowd. That, and when
T'Challa comes through the damn
somebody, okay, so both of my viewings in life, Infinity War, when he gets dusted,
yes,
somebody screamed in my theater,
yes,
and then when he comes back, somebody screamed, not like a scream in my theater, and he came through, and then when everybody starts coming through, the 2 loudest ones was T'Challa and Peter Parker, and then when he says Avengers assemble.
Man, I got chills thinking about that right now.
The crowd fucking lost it. When I say lost it, like the only moment in that scene that feels the most forced is the girl power scene, and even then it's mostly because of aforementioned reasons about Brie Larson being too OP. Brie Larson being too OP. Captain Marvel being too OP. Yes, Brie Larson is just too powerful for Hollywood. But even that, like the whole scene, I like. There's errors in the scene, but it's nothing you're going to catch first or second, third time viewing. You need one of those Easter egg videos to catch the continuity errors in the fight. That's how good of the fight.
That's what I mean by like, as a movie, it wasn't that great when you look back on it, but it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was
I am Iron Man. From the first fucking Tony Stark movie to that moment when you think he's dead again. Like we're like, oh wow, this universe is really going to close out with Thanos winning. That's like all of us, and part of everybody was like, fucking Disney is really just gonna the bad guy won. Like that's what, like, part of us deep down, all of we're just like, they're gonna do it. He's gonna win. Like, because all the Easter eggs are there that Thanos wins in the end. That's why Infinity War hit us so hard. We're like, because when you watch Infinity War, you realize that's the movie you're watching. Thanos is the main character. So Endgame still has that feeling of, this motherfucker is going to come back, like, and not even like from the dead. He's just another version of him.
And he just keeps, and he said, "I'm inevitable."
And all your failures, and where did that bring you? back to me.
Right back to me. I mean, he was a great villain. Oh my god, he was great.
James Brolin killed. Yo,
if I had a time machine and they say, "Yo, man, this is only gonna work one time. You only get one chance. What are you gonna do?" I honestly, depending on how I'm feeling, I might go back in time and say, "Yo, don't go see that 9 a.m. movie, bro. Just go to 7 p.m. showing, bro. It's okay. It's okay. Go to 7 p.m. showing."
And if you want to know what one of Brett's biggest regrets, you're gonna have to listen to our Nets propaganda pod. But anyway, keep it moving for now.
Fuck Sean Marks. Keep going. Number 8.
Don't deflect. You're a great politician when you
Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten. I'm surprised you have this low.
I'm surprised you had it this high.
No, we talked about this. We did a
I like this one. It is 8 on the dope block rankings. Don't act like I algorithm this out of a good spot. I'm shocked.
Had it out if it was up to you, it wouldn't be in the top 10. And we both had that conversation, like, yo, bro, this might be in my top 5. We both had that conversation.
Bro, read my top 15. They're all fire. I don't understand why you keep coming at me like this.
Because I felt betrayed when I saw this, because me and you had that conversation. Like, yo, I do love this movie. Like again, I don't know what you. By the way, speaking of soundtracks, this soundtrack is amazing too.
I didn't know that, but yeah, this movie is
Innocent Pack, Fire in the Sky, brilliant song, brilliant. But go ahead.
No, what do you want to say, bro? This is one of those movies where it's like me and you did the whole pod on it. Go listen to it,
and we said this has to be a top 10. So the fact that you had it at 15, I was like, what is he doing?
It was how you got shit done too. Like I was just like, can I actually put it over this though? Can I actually put it over this though?
And the answer is yes. And the answer is yes.
Okay. Bro, I am fine with this. I am fine with this being in the top 10. Like you can back all the way off my back. You can get them all. What's the James George thing? Or what's his name? Ryan George thing. Where it's like you can get all the way off my back. Like when he's doing the pitch meetings. Like hey, how about you get off that thing? Like because
listen, this movie is phenomenal. That bus scene might be one of the top 5 greatest scenes in MCU history. The fight scene between him and his father is amazing. Everything about this movie is hilarious. It paid off that stupid ass Iron Man 3. They finally had
retcon. It retcon. This movie saved that.
But my point is, it saved Iron Man 3. That's what it did. It saved it. At the end of the day, this movie was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
And you know why this was lower? Because again, this is suffering from being in the phase it came out in. For my rankings, I mean, like, because I thought about the whole movie and I got to the ending, and what was one of my favorite parts of the ending? The sister. And that shit ain't got paid off at all.
But that's okay. We're still working on it. This
one gets more leash because I feel like they are building towards something with him. But they better.
They will. Just give it some time. Give it some time. It's only been 2 years. 3. Wow, it's been 3 years already.
There you go.
Insane. That's insane.
What's going on with it, Brett?
Well, listen, you can't blame this movie for the fact that they decided to do Phase 4 the way they did Phase 4. I'm not holding that against this movie. This movie is fun.
Also showing, how crazy in our rankings. Our rankings that you pretty much turned into like an algorithm so to make it fair, like between our two opinions, right?
Right.
That we both agree this is tier 1 in this phase. And Wakanda Forever, mid-tier. And Eternals is the lower tier. That's how fucking inconsistent this phase has been.
Yeah, and that's a fact. That's a fact.
Because it's not like me and you are looking to hate on things. I know people, I remember telling you in real time, I knew a couple people that didn't love this movie the way we loved it. They didn't hate it, but they didn't love it. So it just goes to show you how people wanted to love this whole phase. And there were some fans that are just like, this is not the same quality. Because this movie has its flaws. The flaw, but I feel like the strengths of this movie, if this was a standalone kung fu flick, no one would hate on this movie.
Right.
And so that's why, like, again, exactly what I did with Far From Home. I was trying to rank its spot in the MCU, its spot, you know what I mean? Like how good is it to me compared to the other ones? I know you got it. That's good. Exactly. Go ahead, skip ahead. Captain America, motherfucking Winter Soldier. That's a top 5 movie right there. This has the best before Shang-Chi, because I feel like this is awesome. They are back to back in our rankings. Before Shang-Chi came out, this was undoubtedly the best choreographed fights in the MCU. Shang-Chi now is right up here with Winter Soldier, because I feel like that is a subjective, like, what kind of fighting do you like more? Because the first scene with GSP, George St. Pierre, on the boat, that shit is A1. That shit is ridiculously good of a real mixed martial arts type of fight. And so if you like Kung Fu more than that, then switch these movies around. But this is the best fights besides Shang-Chi and then in the entire MCU. The Winter Soldier and Cap, and just Cap in general, this has the now iconic. It's crazy that I saw all these in theaters, but now it's an iconic scene because Endgame replicated it. That elevator scene where the guys just get on and it shows how different he is from the first movie. He just takes that breath and goes, all right, so before we do this, does anyone want to get off? And how calm he is when he says it. That is one of the first truly Cap being a badass. Like, he's like, no. You guys don't get it. Like, I know my strength now. And I'm really fed up with how you guys are acting, because that's the best part about Captain America. I love how Captain America exposes all these hypocrites with their own personal beliefs that try to project that this is somehow different than classical Captain America. No, he has all the values that are I'm saying are as in our country are that our propaganda fucking throws out to us growing up, and he believes in it. And the problem is he believes in the propaganda, not actually how shit operates.
Right.
So him coming to terms with the 21st century America, taking care of insurgents before they do anything, and he's like, how do you give somebody a death sentence before they do anything? And that's the whole basis of the movie. And the whole fact that it's Winter Soldier and it's Bucky, that's all secondary to the overall. This movie set the tone for the rest of the MCU. Like, I don't think when we were watching it, at least you can elaborate on this too. At least when the first time we watched it, I don't think any of us really thought like, holy shit, this movie is like a paradigm shift for the characters in general.
Right.
Like,
We didn't know that at the time, no.
Like, that shit, I love this movie.
It's a great movie. It's an absolutely great movie. Again, this is one, if you had that 5, I didn't question that. I said, yeah, okay. I just personally had other things higher than that, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fantastic. We are getting into, well, there's only one movie on here that I just vehemently disagree on. We'll get to that shortly, but the rest, the movies right now where we're at, it's like, yeah, I'm good. If you put it however high you put it, I can't argue it. You know what I mean? I personally think just liked other movies better. That's all this was. That's the only reason why it's 9 on my list. But yeah, great movie. Number 6. This is where I just vehemently disagree.
You're gonna hate on me for Shang-Chi, and you're gonna hate on the god tier movie that is the Avengers. This generational event that is the Avengers.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're talking about the event. I'm just talking about it is as a movie. No, it's not. No.
I love it as a movie. I'm not gonna lie. I love it as a movie.
Top 10, fine. Maybe top 5. 2?
Does thou wear thy mother's drapes?
You don't know. First of all, you weren't there when I had to put this list together. You don't know how you ranking it 2 fucked.
Yo, I can picture you reading it and just going, wait, look at yours, look at mine again, look at yours. God damn it.
like, bro, I'm trying to rank these movies.
No, I get where,
and I'm sitting there like, why the fuck did he rank this 2? If he ranked this like anything else, this would have been so much easier.
Bro, I ranked it 2 because this movie is for all of its importance in general. Like,
I get that. Like, I get it.
Like, because it was an event. And not only is it important in the context of the MCU, the MCU isn't the MCU without this movie. Like, movie is that important. Like, that's why I figured.
No, absolutely. For those of y'all who are too young to remember, this movie, realistically speaking, is one of the most important movies in cinematic history. If we're being honest, because this was thought to be impossible to put this many characters. This isn't Ocean's 11, okay? This is not just, oh yeah, we've seen movies about a big name actor. No, this is an action movie, a big budget superhero movie where you have so many different characters from so many different movies coming together. This was an impossibility before this movie. So all jokes aside, I understand if that's why you're putting it at number 2, the cinematic significance of this movie. This is one of the most significant movies in history.
Also, Loki. Also, is like you got to consider how big of a villain Loki is. Like I told you off rip, a lot of my top 5, a lot of my top 10, the villain played a big role. And you can't. Loki got his own TV show for a reason, people. It's because in this movie, he's as charismatic and as dangerous and as he's ever been. There's comedy scenes with him in it, and there's scenes where he's pulling his most Loki type of plans. This sets up Thanos. It makes Thanos look like a goddamn terror because Loki rained down hell on New York City. And he looked tough as hell. Plus all the moments that are in this movie when they finally do start acting like a team. I love how organically Captain America is the leader. Like Tony can do all this. When shit started going down, Captain was like, Hawkeye, get on the perimeter, start picking them off. You come with me, Black Widow. Thor, Tony, light them up. Anything coming through that hole, light it up. Hulk, smash. And he just smiles. He's like, all right. Shit is great. That whole shit. Because the plan, mind you, for all the shit, for all the Game of Thrones fans out there that hated season 8, the plans in the war didn't make sense anymore. This plan, in the context, like what you said for an action movie, right? The best action movies, the action makes sense. And this, when the hole opened up and this team has it, all the parts came together in individual scenes, even to the point where what are the cops doing? Why the hell am I going to listen to you? Shows Captain America kick like 3 of the aliens' asses, no problem. And the cops are like, oh, okay. Let's be real, because that's exactly, for y'all that might not ever dealt with the NYPD, don't matter if you're in some fucking fancy suit. They're like, who the hell are you? To talk to the cops like that. So I love this movie for all the reasons. Also, yeah, man, I don't back off of it being my number 2. It's been in my top 5 since it came out. I'll keep it real.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I just want you to know you putting it 2 ruined my life.
You having it at 14 is too low. It's damn near sacrilege.
I just don't think it's that great of a movie per se. But again, historical significance, okay. I get it. I'm giving it its respect. 2 is a little high, but that's all right. I still love you. It's 6. It's now 6 on our list, forever in history.
Okay.
As number 6. But we're in the top 5 now, baby. Spider-Man Homecoming, again, is one of those things we both have it ranked 7. Why didn't I rank it 7? Because again, Charles had something ranked at fucking 2. So I had the algorithm had to work its way like this. Like, hey, this is the one movie we agree on that is this high. I think speaking for Charles, I'm like, if I put in the top 5, I don't think he would mind. So I put in the top 5.
Yeah, it's just crazy because that means two of these movies are in the top 5.
Yeah.
For all the shit I get, I don't feel bad about Far From Home now because now I know where the other 2 landed.
I had Far From Home way higher. I had it 6.
Yeah, no, which is just crazy. It's just crazy how this worked out. This is a great movie. I kind of talked about it. Like, I don't know, whatever you want to add to it. Some people don't like how they, air quotes, shoehorned Iron Man into the story. But if you're just a fan that likes the MCU, you never read any comics, it's completely organic, the relationship between Peter Parker and Tony Stark. They built it into the MCU story. And anyone that's read comics knows there's more than one universe, let alone more than one storyline. So I don't care that this isn't in the comics. I don't care if this wasn't in the original Civil War storyline, because in the original Civil War storyline, he's not a high school kid. He's already an established Spider-Man. He's like closer to 27, 30 years old. I don't care. And that's one of my favorite comic books. This movie is the best standalone Spider-Man movie that isn't a No Way Home. Let's be real. No Way Home isn't a standalone Spider-Man movie. It's 3 different Spider-Man in one Spider-Man movie. This is the best standalone Spider-Man movie that is just Spider-Man. Like, this is not an Avengers movie just because Tony Stark appears in like one scene. Like, some people throw this into the Avengers category. No. It's a cameo with misleading marketing because it's more Robert Downey Jr. than Iron Man in this movie. But yeah. I love this movie. This movie
it's a great movie. Great Vulture, great Tom Holland.
The Vulture, again, reason why Avengers is so high on my list. This whole movie is based around the Avengers. Like, not even the characters. I mean, like the actual movie, The Avengers.
Right. Mm-hmm. I agree. It's a great movie. It's an absolute great movie. I had it ranked lower than Far From Home because I personally just thought the Spider-Man movies got better each time. So that's why I had it 7. I think I literally have No Way Home 5, Far From Home 6, Spider-Man Homecoming 7, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But that's only because I love all 3 movies. I think they just got better every time. But I also understand why we would put Homecoming up front of Far From Home, and I'm not mad at it. So there we go. So now we're entering elite company.
Oh, we're past elite. This shit is when me and you were joking about literally one of the most popular movies, like before Infinity War, the first Avengers movie was the definitive MCU movie. Mm-hmm. So like, it's just funny to me because you're like, oh, it's 14th. Again, shows you that there's 15 great fucking movies because that's why, the top 5 was harder in the sense that we're really being nerds, because if we're just being casual film fans, the bottom 5 is the only one you got to avoid. The rest of this shit you can watch on your own time. Like, let's be real.
That's true. That's very true. Number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home. I had it 4. You had it 6.
I'm fine. For anyone who's going to try to defend the honor of my list, I want everyone to know I was trying to not be Spider-Man biased. Like, I know Brett read my list, and besides literally Avengers at 2, the rest of it, he can at least see, oh, you think you're going to rank it too high and it's going to be crazy. So I overcompensated the other way. Spider-Man dominating the top 5 on the Dope blog. This is just God's work now.
Yeah, bro. Like, this is a great movie. Again, it's one of those things, like, as a movie, it might not work as good if we're thinking about it critically, but this movie was just fun.
I disagree there, because if you don't see any of them and they just set up the multiverse thing, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, as you know, and I've said into this microphone on this pod, are trash. This movie makes those movies seem like they're good movies. And not only that, this movie makes me, someone who saw it in theaters, mind you, I'm old enough to have gone and see the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire in theaters and been critical of it. I didn't like it because it's not a fucking mutation. He makes his own webs. But anyway, I remember that, and the Green Goblin was one of my favorite things, despite the Power Rangers outfit, right? And seeing what they did to him and Doc Ock in this movie, like, you could say it's nostalgia, but I'm not, like, I like Sam Raimi, and I think the Spider-Man movies are overrated.
Yes.
With that being said, this makes those movies better. This is a compliment. This lives off of you understanding those movies happen. You do not in any way, shape, or form need to see any other Spider-Man movie to appreciate this one. Because one, Tom Holland and Zendaya are good actors, so you'll understand what's going on. Benedict Cumberbatch, great actor. You'll understand his role in it and that he has history as an Avenger. This shit is not that deep, but it is a great emotional ride. And holy shit, did they finally let that dude be the right version of the Green Goblin. Because at no point did I trust that motherfucker. This is like, oh, I'm a scared man. I was like, yo, he's lying. Like that is a lie. Ain't nobody believe you, Joker. I mean, Goblin. Ain't nobody believe you. Because those are scene stealing Green Goblin. Great movie.
The way they retcon the great power comes great responsibility. I mean, Everything. Again, I only wish we just didn't know the other. Again, this movie. Just think about. And first of all, people still lost their shit when the spot because we knew but we didn't know. Just imagine if they were able to keep all those rumors at bay. How people would have spontaneously combusted if those other Spider-Man came into the theater.
They did. We damn near knew. We didn't know. No, like we honestly didn't know it would be both of them. So we had
I think by the time the movie came out, like we were like,
well, me and you made sure to see that shit the first night, so we knew by the time the movie came out.
Like, no, but I'm saying like in the weeks leading up, we kind of knew, but at the same time, like it still worked. And again, remember, I already had PTSD from Endgame, so I was like, no, I am seeing this the first opportunity I get with a crowded theater. And when everybody came out, I was like, and everybody was like, oh. And so again, this movie was amazing.
Well, why is Jamie Foxx here? He never figured out who Spider-Man was. Well, that's simply explained by shut the fuck up and enjoy the movie. That's how that's explained. Like, well, this doesn't make shut up. It's a Spider-Man fighting a robot octopus and a green goblin. Maybe just shut the fuck up and let us enjoy our lives. Can we just have some? The only way this movie could have
I like that. I liked how they retconned Jamie Foxx. But it's my birthday. But you know I love that line. But it's my birthday. I love how they retconned him to be like, yeah, fuck all that dumb shit. I'm just a badass in this one. I'm just a badass.
I think everybody had fun. I'm surprised they didn't have more fun with Venom, considering all that. That was the only letdown. But but put it in context when this shit's number 4 on our list of how big of a letdown that was. And me and Brett both loved Venom, not the second one, but we loved Venom. Yeah. Fuck you, Sony. That's how shitty Sony is. Because hypothetically, if Sony didn't fuck up, we could have put Venom on this list.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly. I know. Yeah, you just got reminded of how fucking annoying Sony is for teasing something that would just be a tease in the movie.
But I guess they're trying to set up so that they can use him for the next one. So good for them for trying. Like, nah, we need to.
So there's a Spider-Man and an Ant-Man in this world. All right.
Then the big green guy. Was he the Hawk? The Hulk? Yeah, this
seems like Tom Hardy loves playing that role. So good for him. Like it seems like he actually enjoys it.
This movie was just fucking fun.
I want to watch this again now. Like,
yeah, it's just fun. If you want to just have fun, this is the movie right here. This is the movie. All right, top 3 now. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Captain America Civil War. Come on, man. This is it right here. This is the shit. This right here, you understand? This is art. You understand what I'm saying? This is this is art. This movie telling at its finest. You have 2 brothers at war with each other over another brother. This
he's my friend. Tony, he's my friend. So was I.
Oh,
that shit is deep. That shit was deep. Like he said, like, no, fuck you, Robert Downey Jr. for being in front of a green screen and making me cry like that. Because the way they cut to him and you see his eyes, and he says, "So was I." Like
he didn't mean it to. I don't care. Like,
oh no, he just watching that movie. And then realizing the bad guy won in that moment, like it's like, oh shit, he won. Because when you realize, when I saw there was dead bodies, and you're just like, oh no, and it just shows the fucking opening scene again. And
mind you, you don't even notice the first time. They showed it earlier, but we didn't. But it happened so fast you don't catch it.
Yeah,
they told us earlier that he killed his parents.
Yeah,
that's why he said, "Did you know?" And he was like, oh yeah, fuck you. I mean, come on.
You don't deserve it. You leave the shield.
I was just about to say, that belongs to my father. You don't deserve it. And he just takes it off because he knows, like, yeah, I don't deserve this right now. Like, dude, what? Like, what? That movie was incredible. And then this guy, come on now. Rest in peace. The introduction of Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther.
Hey, my name's Clint. I don't care. Like they made him the Terminator in the movie because anytime he was on the screen, he was beelining it and just kicking ass. Like, yo, this movie's great. I'm not mad they didn't kill War Machine now, especially now, but like they really just gloss over his injury in the future installments that he can't walk.
Yeah, he's got the prosthetic legs basically.
But that's what I mean. That's not like, you know what I mean? And I understand in this world when your friend's literally Tony Stark, it makes sense that he gets healed like that. But that's the only complaint I have, because all the other dynamics are intricate, like especially to the point where Black Widow and Hawkeye are fighting and they're not really fighting.
Actually, the funny thing is, why didn't they just bring him to Wakanda? They probably would have fixed him.
They didn't know. Wakanda's not open to the world yet.
True, but now it is like yo, just go to Wakanda, bro.
That probably will be in an episode or something. I like this movie a lot. Like, this was my favorite. This has been in my top 5, obviously. The introduction of Spider-Man, the introduction of Black Panther. Some people didn't like it because they thought that Spider-Man got shoehorned into it last minute. I think that worked perfectly. Spider-Man just chipping up Winter Soldier and Falcon, like fucking them up. After it's already been established that Winter Soldier can fuck up people, and he's just sitting there like, why am I getting my ass kicked by a child? Like he's so upset by this.
When Falcon's like, do you realize there's not much talking when you're fighting? And he's just like, oh, hey, sorry, guys.
Is that a metal arm? I hate you.
Oh my God, is that a metal arm? Like, I mean, this movie's so good. This movie,
your shield does not obey the laws of physics at all. and what does he say? Where are you from? Queens, Brooklyn. He just walks off.
I mean, even Paul Rudd is getting beat up. Does anybody got any orange slices?
Like, doesn't even have any orange slices.
This movie is so.
No, the sound he makes when I'm gonna try something, and he gets big and he goes, oh. It sounds ridiculous, but it has the realest sound to a regular person doing that for the first time.
Right, like what sound would you make? If you're like, okay, I didn't think that was gonna work, but good lord.
What he says, he's like, oh, I tried it a couple times, but I passed out. Like, what?
That this movie, I mean,
the little guy's big. The little guy's big.
If we're talking about like just movies, like well made, this might be the best movie, period, in the MCU. If we're saying like forget it being a superhero movie.
No, I actually think as a film or a movie, whatever, that our number one, what I'm assuming is our number one, is the best movie. Because even if you don't see anything, that movie is centralized on one character, and it's just telling a story about that one character. So by like filmmaking rules and how developed that character is in the movie, I feel like that's the best movie. I feel like it fucked up and became a good movie. You know what I mean? Like it did shoehorn a bunch of action into it, and they wrote it again when good writing. Compare this to 20.
But that's my point. This is such a well-made movie. It gives you everything you want in it.
When the biggest criticism is, did you have to go get a high school kid to fight your war for you when you're trying to say you want? It's like, again, shut up. I want Spider-Man.
But also, that's Tony Stark being smart enough to know, like, bro, I need firepower. I don't have enough firepower. I need more people on my team. This kid doesn't even know his potential yet. And it also shows the father figure in Tony Stark, because this and in Homecoming, he keeps putting him in positions to win. It's like, yo, I don't want you to do nothing else but just do this. We'll handle the other stuff. Just take care of Falcon. You know what I mean? Like, no offense, but like you could do that. No offense, Falcon, none taken, but fuck you, Tony. Like you know, it's one of those type of things. This is such a good movie, man. If this was somebody's number one, I can't argue with that. Like, this is an amazing movie. Number two,
Wakanda Forever.
The guy, the legend himself, Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. Black Panther, the first Black Panther. I actually fucked up on my ranking this number one. I meant to put number one. I was, again, at this point in the night, I'm tired. This is number one on my list. It's number three on yours. This is the movie that I've watched the most. And, you know, like I said, I don't rewatch things a lot. Whether it's TV shows, whether it's movies, I don't rewatch stuff. So but I've seen this movie like at least 100 times. So that tells me that this has to be my favorite movie in the MCU. That's why it's number one, even though if I know it might not be the best movie in the MCU, but this is my number one movie.
Killmonger is the best standalone villain in the MCU, like without a doubt. Killmonger's scene where he walks into the throne room and it's upside down with the Kendrick beat playing and it twists around is one of my favorite shots / scenes in the MCU. Yeah, when we were talking about this idea and you said, I think Black Panther is my number one, and all you said was I watched it the most. That's how you asked me why was something so low on my list. It's like I didn't watch it as much as the other ones. It had nothing to do with how good it is. It had everything to do with, like, at the end of the day, Civil War and Black Panther are the only, besides number one, which we know what it is now, are the ones I've watched the most. Like my top five were the ones I watched the most. Avengers, I saw Avengers like 7 times in the theater. You're like, how's it your number two? I love that movie. I mean, like it is what it is. Black Panther.
But that was that's the beauty of this exercise, because I knew your list was going to be different from my list.
And Black Panther being my number 2 or number 3 or whatever, it is like, honestly, this one, my biggest problem with the movie upon its release until this day, I guess, is some of the CGI in the climax of the movie isn't the best.
Not that great. Yeah, it's not that great.
But then what we found out years later was he was fighting cancer. So now you look at some of this rubbery CGI a little bit differently, because maybe they didn't. Maybe that's when they found out, when he was supposed to do choreographed fights with Michael B. Jordan, and he couldn't, because that's the God's honest truth. He was fighting it for years. They said he had it in this movie, and knowing that makes some of the action scenes or lack thereof make more sense when they were like, why is that CGI just not him in the suit? That's the sad part, because that's the first thing I thought of when they said, no, he's had it for years. I was like, that's why that last scene wasn't them, because they're both good looking dudes. Even though they'll be in the suit, it just makes more sense for them to do everything in slow motion in real life and then speed it up.
Right.
And then just have it completely be CGI. So again, I had to go, the whole movie happened, and I got to the last night, like 3 minutes of a fight before I got out of a critique of the movie. This movie is so good. The sequel without him isn't the last movie on our list. And Michael B. Jordan was amazing in it. The whole cast is good.
Okay.
I forgot to say it. Angela Bassett in Wakanda Forever deserves more flowers as an actress. But yeah, man, Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan make this movie. This is a great movie.
It's fantastic.
This movie's so good. Every Halloween since, I've seen little white kids dress up like Black Panther, and as a black dude that dressed up as Batman at that same age. That's fucking awesome.
The cultural significance of this movie, the global phenomenon it became. I mean, this movie, again, Black Panther before this was a C-list, and I'm being nice when I say a C-list actor.
He was Storm's husband.
Right. As a person who loved Black superheroes, I didn't really care about Black Panther.
Yeah, he was Storm's husband. You knew him as a husband to an X-Man.
Right. My superheroes were Static Shock, Jon Stewart as Green Lantern, Cyborg. Those were the 3 Black superheroes that I grew up with, that I called my idols. They said, oh, there's a guy named Black Panther. I said, okay, cool.
I never liked Black Panther like that. If I had to go Black superheroes off the top of my head, there's 2, Spawn and Blade. And Spawn isn't really a hero. He's a hero, but not really.
And that just shows irony, because I wasn't old enough to watch those movies back then, so I didn't have that connection.
Oh, I wasn't either. My dad just didn't care. And the first Spawn comic I got when I was like 9 or 10, so it was like 98, 99. And the main antagonist of that volume, the graphic novel, is the son of a senator who's a pedophile serial killer. So if you don't know, my dad's a Vietnam vet and a boomer, so he doesn't give a shit. He's like, yeah, that makes sense. Kill that guy. Here's your superhero, son. He's Black too. like, you know, like, it's not the worst. Out of all the bad guys, to tell a kid, like, yeah, this is actually an evil person. So props, Dad, because that kind of makes a lot of sense to why I hate certain villains. Why I'm like, you could have made a better villain because kids could understand what evil is. Like some of the time, more than destroy the world. There's just some sick motherfuckers out there, and that's why this movie works, because it isn't evil for evil's sake in this movie. Killmonger has a very, very relatable, not reason, but motivation behind why he's doing what he's doing. And it's not even,
and I love the people that say, "Oh, white people are bad." White people. Like you didn't even watch the movie, because the whole point is Wakanda's wrong too. Like you can't turn.
He's most mad at Wakanda, and he's the bad guy because he's not mad that he wasn't protected. He's mad they didn't enslave everybody. like the craziest part to me is like the Killmonger defenders out there act like he's right. He's not right at all. He's a fucking dictator. He's the cult of personality that becomes a dictator because he's telling you whatever you want to hear that gives him more power. Yes, he can be saying things that are true. Yes, there's systemic racism. Yes, Africans let it happen to us. Yes, the fucked up part is they fell for his gimmick. Like the line, everyone likes that line at the end where he's like, "Put me in the ocean with my ancestors." Those aren't your ancestors. He's not African American, guys. He's literally just an African. His ancestor is royalty. He's
on his mom's side. On his mom's side, he is.
Cool. Yes, because he's fighting to be mayor of Oakland. I forgot. Oh no, he's going for an ancestral throne.
No, you're right. You're right. But that's the brilliance of this movie. It talks about very controversial things on all angles. It's like,
it's great. I just think it's funny.
Killmonger's not right because wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter what side is doing what. Because there are people that said, no, fuck that. We should do to them what they did to us. I was like, okay, but then when does it end? So for the next 400 years, should we be in charge and then flip it back? Like, no, when does it end? Right? So that's wrong. Wakanda was wrong because it's like, you do have the technology to help, and you didn't because you're so afraid that because you know that God forbid people found out about you. You know people be coming for you. So you're wrong. Everybody's wrong here.
And he's not doing it to liberate blacks everywhere. He's selling weapons to enrich himself, to put in puppet governments, so he'll be the king of everywhere.
Of the world, exactly.
Right. Like, I love it. Don't get me wrong. Killmonger is my favorite villain. I just get annoyed when me and Brett are in our blurred groups and our blackness is coming into question because we're like, no, he's not right. like me and you would be there like regular ass people in Wakanda. And it's like King. What's Killmonger's real name? King Killmonger really had some good ideas, and we'd be like, "The fuck you just say, bro?" Like, you mean the guy that started shooting just randomly here because he was trying to ship off all the weapons to America because they don't have weapons in America?
And God forbid those weapons get in the wrong hand. Did you ever think about that, Killmonger? Did you ever think about that? God forbid those weapons.
He is the wrong. That's not the best part. He is the wrong hands. That whole time he turns his back on his partner to make it look like he hunted him down and killed him. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, he was right. No, he wasn't. He was helping the dude that was public enemy number one to Wakanda until he got physically to Wakanda and killed him for his own personal gain.
Right. The guy that got it wasn't his own personal gain. He basically blames him for his father's death. So that was his way of.
No, I mean the Claw. What's his dude? When Killmonger kills him, but that was public enemy number one to Wakanda.
Right.
And they were working together. It's implied for years.
Right.
And he only kills him to get in with the royalty of Wakanda immediately.
Yep.
It had nothing to do with anything.
But I also think that was part of his plan because if he knows the relationship to Claw and his father, which again, that's him doing his own research and Claw being, because that was another thing. Claw was so racist that he didn't realize, right? He was racist to just the Wakandans. He didn't even think for a minute. They're like, wait, who's this random black guy that searched me up and knows who I am?
No. That's lost in the movie. He knew who he was because he's Eric Killmonger, CIA SHIELD agent from Oakland.
Right.
Didn't know he was Prince in Jobu. I forget, in Joku or something.
That's my point. He didn't know that he didn't know that was his father.
Which would also be impossible for anyone to know. That's the best part. The only people that knew are in that opening scene.
Right. True.
Very so, true. Like, again, why it's so high? Because that's how good of a spy action movie this is. And standalone, because this shit did not set up 100 million things in the MCU. This is a movie that they could tell they kept it confined because they thought it would be big. They did not know it would be a hit. Like, they thought it would be good. They didn't think this would be, oh, shit. He's a fan. He was not just a fan favorite, because the best part about this movie, it exposed the racists really bad. Because the idea that only Black people made this a hit, it's like, y'all don't get math, do you? That's impossible. You know what I mean? Like most of the people that saw this movie were white folks.
Were white. Mm-hmm.
And mind you, we make jokes about it's our movie first. Let us get the first round of tickets on opening night. That it's a joke because this is a hit movie. Everybody likes it. And the people that
you don't make 1.6 billion. You don't make that with just us going there.
Yeah, for real. And bro, I love this movie. My nephew loves this movie.
I've watched this movie 100 times. I'll probably watch it 100 more. Like it's so freaking good.
I just hear that music whenever I see this shit.
No, I mean, the only thing that sucks about it now is the part where like, obviously I'm not dead. And I'm like, damn.
No, what did he say? Oh yeah, what did he say?
I never yielded.
I never yielded.
I'm not dead. I'm like, no, Dad, don't.
Bro, not beautiful, bro. Not for, somebody said he only got to be Black Panther for one movie, and in my head I was like, he's Black Panther for 3 movies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as a fan, I remember reading online
before Civil War, this, Infinity War, Endgame.
Oh yeah, exactly. But at the time, at Infinity War, so he passed away, right? And I'm just like, no, he was a key player in at least 3 of my favorite MCU movies. Like we can be mad he didn't have his own trilogy, sure, but at the same time, I'm like, those are 3 of the most popular movies of all time. Like, it's not like he was underrated in these movies. Literally in Civil War, he is set up as strong as anyone else in that movie. He did not get jobbed out.
He was whipping ass in that.
He had Winter Soldier running. Like, Winter Soldier was like, yeah, no. He's like, when they're running and he runs past Cap and shit, that's great. I love that movie. I love that shit. And then it's paralleled in the #1 movie.
#1, Infinity War.
Come on. We all knew what this was. We all knew this was a reason just for us to praise this movie again. This is the best movie, and this is what I was alluding to before.
Like I said, the only reason why I have it too is because I've just seen Black Panther way more, and that's why it was my #1. But really, this is the best one. This is the best one. Best one.
This movie is so good that you don't realize that Thanos is the main character the first time you watch it. The first time you watch it, you don't realize you're following Thanos. Like, it looks like you're picking up where your heroes left off. That's what you feel like you're doing the first time you watch it. When you rewatch it, you realize Thanos is here. Like, that's the whole theme of the movie. Like, no, he's here. Mm-hmm. And he's terrifying, and he's motivated. He's not just pure evil figure. You really understand. He thinks he's doing the right thing,
which in retrospect is the stupidest shit ever, but it still works.
No, he's the Mad Titan. He's mad. He's completely insane. But James Brolin's so good of an actor. He isn't pure evil. He has feelings. Like, he looks like they played it so well. He looks hurt every time Zoe Saldana's character is just saying she hates him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you know what I mean? Like, really?
Because again, as a parent, a lot of times your kid doesn't see your vision, and it hurts you sometimes because it's like, bro, you don't know I'm doing this for your own good, right? And he truly believes that.
I hate you. I hate this chair. I hate this food. He's like, I know, you've told me every day. and it sounds like that whole conversation.
Did you succeed? Yes. What did it cost you? Everything.
Bro, it's deep. He won, and the first thing he did was go see his daughter. Like, that's why the beginning of Endgame hits different too, is because he was happy to an extent. He didn't even have his daughters to celebrate with.
Mm-hmm.
He was a lonely old man looking on a grateful universe. And it's crazy because he tells everybody what his vision is. And he's like, yo, you guys think I'm crazy? It's insane because everybody, like, you know, obviously actual people have done the math and said committing genocide, it wouldn't make any sense within 2 generations. We'd be back to where we were. Like, and it's crazy because, like, yes, it's like, yeah, guys, he's a bad guy. Like, we never said the plan was genius. We said he actually believes it'll work. That's the difference. I don't know what your favorite scene is in this movie. I love the fight on Titan probably the most.
Fight on Titan is good. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I have a favorite scene. When Cap and Iron Man get back together for just a brief moment because they hate each other again in Endgame, right? When they put their differences aside, that was awesome. Where's Gamora? Who's Gamora? I'll tell you why Gamora.
I have one better. Why is Gamora?
Why Gamora? It's like, I mean, it's there's so, like, this movie is just amazing. There's just so many freaking great movies. Just the heartbreaking scene of her having of Wanda having to kill Vision, just for him to use the time stone and bring him right back to life. And he comes back to life and he's like, what, why am I still here? And he looks and he realizes, like, oh shit. And he kills him again. And she has to watch that. It's like, damn.
That's one of the dirtiest scenes in the
That's
whole
dirty. Yeah, that's dirty. And again, this is why Ragnarok pisses me off. Because it's like, bro, y'all can do this. Y'all can make serious scenes serious. Then you have freaking Ragnarok. Just yeah.
Bro, that whole last scene before Thanos wins, and how Cap catches his fist, and Thanos looks at him like, oh shit, like, because he's God at that point. And he literally, and Cap literally caught, it took 2 hands, but he caught one fist and he just smacks him aside. He's like, that was cool. Like, because it's cool seeing Thanos respect the fighters in that way. Like, he's like, cool. Like the best part of this movie, besides the fact that that's not a battle scene, is the opening scene. He chips up the Hulk. Like, not only does he eat a couple punches, he smiles and realizes he's just like a mindless fighter. And he actually chips him up. He hits him in the throat, makes him get all disoriented, and just starts 2-piecing him.
And that's the one thing I still don't get why they did that whole thing with Hulk, but that's the only. But this movie is so good, I'm willing to look past
What do you mean?
The whole Hulk is like too afraid to fight him now and stuff like that. I'm like,
I liked it just because they did the whole. The problem with that was they didn't do enough explaining them coming together, or at least have a scene devoted to that. I liked it because in Ragnarok, they're showing like it really is like 2 people in one body. And that's how bad Thanos kicked his ass. The Hulk's like, no, I'm not coming out. Like, no, like the Thanos beat him up so bad, the Hulk is scared. It's just that deep. It's like, I thought that was perfect because, again, you never see the Hulk get beat up like that. Like, you see him take damage, sure. You don't see somebody just look at him, start bobbing, weaving, and acting like he's Cassius Clay, just beating his ass. And then he picks him up. He picks him up and just dumps him. And he's like, yeah, okay. He's like, that was your and looks at Thor like that was the army that in one person. Cool. Fucked him up. Perfect way of establishing how strong he is, too.
great movie, man. Great freaking movie. All right. This is Charles's list, just so you guys have it. So I'll give you guys a second if you want to pause it and just read it over. But it's Infinity War, it's the Avengers, it's Black Panther, Civil War, Winter Soldier, No Way Home, Homecoming.
All you did was convince me that I should have switched Spider-Man Far From Home and Thor Ragnarok. I'll give you that. You've convinced me that Far From Home should probably be at 11 and then Ragnarok should probably be at 13.
Yeah, it's a good list. Again, the only thing that pissed me off was the Avengers at 2 because that fucked everything up. Like,
if I was gonna drop it, it'd probably drop to 6.
Yeah, that's fine. That's whatever.
That's it.
Iron Man, Endgame, Ragnarok, Doctor Strange, Far From Home, Age of Ultron, Shang-Chi, Ant-Man, Wakanda Forever, Multiverse of Madness, Iron Man 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Thor, Captain America, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Dark World, Eternals, The The Incredible Hulk, Black Widow, Iron Man 3, Captain Marvel, and Love and Thunder. That's his list. Try to read it for you a little slowly so you have time to read it for yourself. Pause it, read it for yourself. Here's my list.
Hold on, I'll do your list. I got this. Brett's list. Black Excellence is number 1.
Yes, sir.
Avengers Infinity War number 2. Civil War number 3. The Homecoming Dance with the Spider Guy number 4. Shang-Chi number 5. That is the most surprising. I think your biggest feedback is going to be people surprised that's year 5. That's my bold prediction.
It shouldn't be. We did a Shang-Chi review.
I understand that, bro.
And we both said, yo, that might be my top 5.
Okay, so 100%, bro. I get it. You kept it a buck. Number 6, Far From Home. Number 7, Homecoming. That is funny that you almost had it just lined up. Avengers Endgame is your number 8, which again, it's funny that you're like, it's not that good of a movie, though. It's top 10 no matter what.
Again, you can't. I mean, the adrenaline rush of that movie. I mean, yeah, that's unparalleled.
Oh yeah, I'm about to watch that final scene again.
Even the little one where he like where Captain America's fighting with Stormbreaker and throws like, no, you get the little one.
No, you take the little one. No, give that to me. Give that to me. Captain America Winter Soldier is your number 9, rounding out your top 10. Guardians of the Galaxy, the classic Iron Man at 11. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, number 12. Doctor Strange, lucky number 13. Perfect for the Sam Raimi Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange would be 13, but that's not the better movie. Avengers at number 14. Ant-Man at 15. Wakanda Forever at 16. Ant-Man at the Wasp at 17. Doctor Strange at the Multiverse of Madness at 18. Again, probably seeing both of our lists, that's the most underrated one for me. 19, Captain America, the First Avengers, definitely aged with time, unlike the other phase 1 ones that might have got worse with time. That one, I think, has aged the best. I think that one has the most to offer upon rewatch now. Ironically, was not a fan when I walked out of theaters after seeing it. The Eternals at number 20. And then in Brett's bottom tier, we got the Eternals, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Age of Ultron, that's Cap, Thor 23, The Incredible Hulk at 24, Black Widow at 25, Iron Man 2 at 26, Thor Love and Thunder too high at 27, Dark World at 28. The Dark World is better than Thor Love and Thunder. I just got to say that again. The Thor Dark World is better than Love and Thunder. And then Captain Marvel at 29 and Iron Man 3 at 30. And that's fine because Iron Man 3 doesn't deserve any props. Why was that kid at his funeral in Endgame? No one remembered him. Why? Because that movie is garbage. But that's our list.
And then here's the actual dope blog list, just so you have it all together.
All right, man, people are going to think, I told you, yo, you better showcase Spider-Man, motherfucker. It's gonna
no. Again, I was just thinking of a random movie to put, and like I said, I think that was the highest movie that we agreed upon at 7. So
I mean, any shots from Infinity War Endgame would have been perfect. Like,
yeah, Infinity War was already on your slide, so I was like, all right, I'll just do this.
Yeah, man.
So Infinity War, Black Panther, Civil War, No Way Home, Homecoming, Avengers, Winter Soldier, Shang-Chi, Avengers Endgame, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Far From Home, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, and Guardians Volume 2. You go ahead and do the last 15.
Thor Ragnarok is at the Sweet 16 spot. Wakanda Forever is at 17. I think most people will agree that's probably fair placement. Avengers Age of Ultron at 18. I think that's a little low, but it is what it is. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, again, underrated to me. Y'all bought into your own hype trains. Ant-Man at the Wasp at 20. Ugh. I feel like that's the best one that's rated low, if that makes sense. And then Captain America, the First Avenger, the Eternals at 22, Iron Man 2 at 23, Thor at 24, The Incredible Hulk at 25, Thor the Dark World at 26, correctly above Thor Love and Thunder, which is 28, and after Black Widow at 27. Then we got the worst of the worst, Iron Man 3 at 29, and then Captain Marvel at 30. And again, the last 3, completely interchangeable pieces of garbage. So that's how I feel. I got my Cap shirt on, showing which side I took in the Civil War. Like, you know what side I'm siding with? Not the government side. That's the side I'm going to side with.
That's a good point. So that is the list. You can find me at Never For Brett Me. That's NEVA_4 BRETT_ME on Instagram and Twitter.
And the Dope blog, _Dope blog on Instagram. That's our shield base. We're at the Dope blog, all one word, on Twitter, www.thedope.blog. If I'll ever update that page again, sorry, been kind of busy. There's a baby in my life. And I'm at Not the Chuck D on all the socials, usually trolling Brett and or other friends of mine about these very topics, or the Nets, which Brett will be talking about at some point in the future again.
Yeah, what about talk about it now in a little bit?
I don't know if we're about to talk about it now. I need to make sure when my family's coming home.
Oh yeah, well, let me know about that. We'll try. If nothing else, we'll try.
We gave the people a Marvel length pod today.
We did.
I'm happy. I'm happy about this. I'm not even fronting.
Like I said, this is the pod we wanted to do for a long time. We wanted to make sure we got it in before Ant-Man.
We want to make sure we got it in and not rushed it.
Yeah. And then, like I said, Ant-Man Quantumania comes out this week, so go see it. It'll be movie 31.
And let us know what nerdy ass properties you want us to like go over, because I'm gonna put all this out there just because it didn't turn out right schedule wise in our lives. Me and Brett were gonna do like episodic Game of Thrones reviews. So if there's something like that, maybe not episodic, maybe it's the whole season of something you want us to review. I'm almost done with Avatar. Brett has pushed me to do it. And I will say in public, I stalled on the first season, I guess it is, because that's so slow. But where I am now, close to the finish, I'm on like a 40-minute long episode towards the end. And I don't want to not watch it, completely devoting my time, because that show is good. I do like it. I want to say that. The first couple episodes, man, it's a slog to get through. But unlike other kids shows, it actually matters, kind of like the setup to phase 1. So we got more nerd shit coming out. Just let us know what nerd shit you want us to cover.
Give us your rankings in the comments too. And because you're watching this, please like, share, and subscribe. And join us next time as we continue to discuss other people's excellence.
And where did the dope bring you? Back to us.